Chapter 531. When Qin Yuan was about to leave, Zhao Xinhui suddenly stopped him. Qin Yuan asked nervously, "Aunt, what's wrong?" "Come here." Zhao Xinhui beckoned Qin Yuan over with her finger. "Aunt." Qin Yuan was fascinated by Zhao Xinhui's beautiful face and moved closer to her happily. "Aunt, what's wrong?" Zhao Xinhui didn't say anything, but kissed Qin Yuan's cheek when Qin Yuan moved closer. Qin Yuan was stunned. What was going on? Zhao Xinhui kissed him? Did this mean that Zhao Xinhui also had a good impression of him? Thinking of that, Qin Yuan couldn't help getting excited. If Zhao Xinhui also liked him and was willing to be with him, then even if he had to live a hard life, he wouldn't marry Zhao Ping'er. When he was about to say something, Zhao Xinhui whispered in his ear, "Let's go now. Thank you for what you did today." Qin Yuan blushed and stammered, It's nothing. I'm happy to do it." Zhao Xinhui smirked. "Hurry up and get out. Otherwise, that last Ping'er will really rush into my room and cause trouble for me." "Sure." Qin Yuan was reluctant to leave Zhao Xinhui's room. As he expected, he found Zhao Ping'er waiting outside and craning her neck to see what was going on inside. Qin Yuan frowned and hated Zhao Ping'er more and more. "Brother Yuan," Zhao Ping'er greeted Qin Yuan the moment he walked out. Qin Yuan ignored Zhao Ping'er and walked straight away. Zhao Ping'er immediately followed Qin Yuan. "Brother Yuan, please don't ignore me, okay?" "Shut up. Don't bother me." Qin Yuan and Zhao Ping'er both went to the third branch's room, and Zhao Yun'er felt the subtle change in their relationship. It was getting interesting, and Zhao Yun'er was curious about what had happened just now. Qin Yuan sat down in front of Mr. and Mrs. Qin without saying a word. It was hard to tell whether he was happy or not. Mr. and Mrs. Qin were chatting happily with Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao. Liang Jinxiao agreed. If Zhao Ping'er successfully got married, she would be given at least 5 taels of silver as dowry. Liang Jinxiao did not have 5 taels of silver with him at the moment, and he was prepared to borrow it from Zhao Yun'er and return it in the future. Zhao Yun'er naturally had no objections. If they really gave away Zhao Ping'er, this weirdo, she would be willing to give away 10 taels of silver, let alone 5 taels of silver. When Mr. and Mrs. Qin heard that Zhao Ping'er's family actually had so much dowry, they were even more determined to let Qin Yuan marry Zhao Ping'er. The two families agreed to the marriage for the time being. As for when the wedding would be held, they would decide on the date later. During this period of time, they could also let Qin Yuan come over more often. The two children could spend time together and cultivate their relationship. In the afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Qin stood up and said goodbye. "Sister-in-law, that's all we have to say. We will go back first and let Yuan come over alone later," Mu Chunfang said. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao did not ask them to stay. "Then you can go back first." "Okay, thank you for your hospitality today." "Haha, it's nothing," Liang Jinxiao said with a smile, and at the same time he went to the kitchen to take something out. There was 1/2 kilogram of meat, 10 eggs and 2 fish. "You can take these back. It's also a little gift from us. We know that your life is not easy." Chapter 532. It wasn't appropriate for Qin Yuan to accept the gifts immediately, so he said, "Sister-in-law, you're too polite. It's already troublesome for us to come here. How can we accept your gifts?" "It's fine. Take it. We'll be in-laws in the future. You don't have to be so polite." "Well, we'll take it." Qin Yuan and Qin Yuan were delighted. They were just being polite. How could they not accept so many good gifts? "Mother, let's go," Qin Yuan said. "Be careful on your way back." "I know. You don't have to walk us out. Let's go home." "Okay." Zhao Yun'er and her family didn't go back to the house until Qin Yuan and Qin Yuan left old Zhao's yard. Zhao Yun'er's impression of the Qin couple was even worse. She knew that they were greedy when she saw their eyes. She wondered if it was because they were too poor that they developed this mentality. Zhao Ping'er sat on the stool angrily. Liang Jinxiao asked with concern, "What's wrong, Ping'er? Why do you look unhappy?" "Mother, Aunt Qin seduced my man," Zhao Ping'er said. She directly called Qin Yuan her man. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao frowned and said, "Ping'er, you're not married yet. You'll be laughed at if you say that." "Mother, I'll be married to Qin Yuan in the future. He's my man." "Mother, you don't know. Aunt Qin is too much. She can't get married and can't find a man, so she wants to seduce my man. Please help me." Looking at Zhao Ping'er's angry and anxious expression, Zhao Yun'er couldn't help laughing. Liang Jinxiao sighed. "Ping'er, how can I help you? You think too much. Don't worry. Your aunt has high standards. I'm sure she won't like Qin Yuan." Moreover, Qin Yuan's parents have already discussed your marriage with us, so they won't go back on their word, right? After being comforted by Liang Jinxiao, Zhao Yun felt that Liang Jinxiao's words made sense. Mom, can I really marry Qin Yuan? Of course he can. Didn't you see that he didn't say anything when I told his parents about your marriage? Isn't that a tacit agreement? That's good. Zhao Ping suddenly felt much better. On the other side, the Qin couple was on their way back. The Qin couple was in a great mood. They ate a delicious meal and brought back so many good things. Mu Chunfang whispered into Qin Yuan's ear, Yuan, look at this. Ping family is really generous. If you marry Ping our family's life will be much better. Speaking of this, Qin Yuan pulled a long face. Mother, am I really going to marry Zhao Ping? What's wrong, Yuan? Are you going back on your word now? Mu Chunfang asked a little anxiously. Qin Dahai was also a little anxious. Yes, Yuan, what's wrong with you? Father, mother? I just think that Zhao Ping is too ugly and stupid. I'll definitely feel uncomfortable being with her. Chapter 533. Qin Dahai also agreed. Yuan, your mother is right. No matter what, you have to marry Ping for the sake of our family. Qin Yuan looked at his poor parents and his foolish older brother at home and sighed. He could only suffer in exchange for a better life for his family. Father, mother. Fine, we'll do as you say. Alas, that's a good boy. After the things in the third branch were settled, Zhao Yuner went back. As soon as she came back, she saw Mu Lianfeng sitting on a stool. He seemed to be unhappy and sulking. Zhao Yuner felt curious. What's going on? Who provoked him? Mu Lianfeng, why are you sitting there like an idiot? Zhao Yuner walked over and asked. Mu Lianfeng raised his head with a bitter face and asked Zhao Yuner, Yuner, who is the Uncle Lu that Dao De mentioned? Zhao Yuner was stunned. Why did this guy ask this out of the blue? Yuner, why aren't you talking? Mu Lianfeng sounded even more jealous. Zhao Yuner was curious why Mu Lianfeng suddenly mentioned Lu Lei. What did Dao Du and Mu Lianfeng talk about? The corner of her mouth twitched a few times. It's Lu Lei. Don't you know him? Lu Lei? Mu Lianfeng frowned. He had a little impression of that name. He had met him before. Yeah, except for him, Dao Du doesn't know any other Uncle Lu. What did Dao Du say? Look at you, you're so jealous. Zhao Yuner couldn't help but tease him like a little wife. Oh, nothing. Mu Lianfeng sighed. Nothing? Zhao Yuner glanced at Mu Lianfeng. Do you think I'll believe you? Just tell me what you want to say. I don't like secrets and suspicions when we're together. If you have any doubts, I can explain it to you clearly. Zhao Yuner knew that if they didn't treat each other honestly, there would definitely be problems if there were suspicions. Since Zhao Yuner said so, Mu Lianfeng didn't hide the truth and told her the reason. It turned out that today when he asked Dao Du who treated him better and who Dao Du liked, Dao Du mentioned that before Mu Lianfeng came, the man who treated Dao Du the best was Lu Lei, the Uncle Lu that Dao Du mentioned. At that time, Lu Lei often came to Zhao Yuner's place to help. Mu Lianfeng was very jealous when he thought about how a man often came to Zhao Yuner's side in the past 3 years. At the same time, he felt even more guilty towards Zhao Yuner. Why wasn't he by Zhao Yuner's side when she needed him the most? So much so that another man took care of and protected them. Mu Lianfeng also explained his feelings in his heart. Zhao Yuner couldn't help but laugh. You are jealous of the wrong person. In fact, you should be thanking her, right? At least when you weren't around, someone helped us. As for me and Lu Lei, you don't have to worry. If I were interested in him, I would be with him now. After Zhao Yuner said this, Mu Lianfeng's heart suddenly became a lot more cheerful. Yuner liked him. It was fate. Since she wasn't interested in Lu Lei, why should he be jealous? He did have to thank him for helping Zhao Yuner and her son in the past 3 years. Chapter 534. Give him something? Yes, pick some gifts to express your gratitude. He helped you and your mother. As his father and husband, I can't not say anything. Wouldn't that make me seem very heartless? Zhao Yuner was amused by Mu Lianfeng. He really had a lot of ideas. However, Zhao Yuner didn't have any objections to Mu Lianfeng expressing his gratitude. If you want to give him something, then give him something. Mu Lianfeng nodded in response. For a moment, Mu Lianfeng didn't know what to give. He felt that it would be better to give him some money. Thus, he took out 100 taels of silver and said to Zhao Yuner, Yuner, take me there. Are you sure you want to give him money? Zhao Yuner frowned. She felt that it wasn't very good to give him money. But we don't know what he wants. If we give him something impractical, wouldn't it be of no help at all? Zhao Yuner felt that Mu Lianfeng's words were somewhat reasonable. All right then. Let's go. The two of them walked towards Lu Lei's house together. When Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng arrived, Lu Lei was chopping wood in his courtyard. "Brother Lei Zi," Zhao Yun'er called out. After hearing Zhao Yun'er's voice, Lu Lei's heart was filled with joy. However, when he looked up, he found that Zhao Yun'er was followed by Mu Lianfeng. "Brother Lei Zi." Zhao Yun'er came in front of Lu Lei and smiled. Lu Lei wiped the beads of sweat on his forehead and sized up Mu Lianfeng. He knew Mu Lianfeng's identity, but he didn't have any fear in front of Mu Lianfeng. He straightened his back and said faintly, "I don't know why Lord Shizhi is here." Mu Lianfeng was not bothered by Lu Lei's attitude. Instead, he directly stated his intentions. After hearing Mu Lianfeng's words, Lu Lei frowned. He was not happy. His attitude towards Mu Lianfeng was still cold and indifferent. "Your Highness, you don't have to express your gratitude. I was willing to take care of Yun'er and Dao De back then. Big brother Lu, you don't have to be polite with him. With this money you can buy some land. When the time comes you can even get a wife." Lu Lei took a deep breath. "I really don't need it. Yun'er, I appreciate your and Shizi's good intentions. I'm living a good life by myself now. I don't need to buy a field. I don't need this 100 taels of silver at all." Zhao Yun'er didn't like to force people. Lu Lei's attitude was already very clear. Thinking about it, sending money over was indeed too abrupt. "All right then, brother Lei, why don't you come to my house for dinner tonight? Don't refuse this, okay?" Lu Lei couldn't refuse, so he nodded and said, "All right then. Yun'er, I'll go to your place for dinner tonight." Yes. Then I'll go back and prepare first." "Okay." Watching Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng's backs as they left, Lu Lei clenched his fists. He never expected that Shizi's father was Dao Du's biological father. In this way, he didn't even need to think about being together with Zhao Yun'er. The last bit of hope in his heart suddenly disappeared at this moment. Lu Lei felt a little desolate in his heart. "Big brother Lu. They're too much." Xiao Hong walked over angrily. She was at the side just now and heard everything. Seeing Xiao Hong walk over, Lu Lei was stunned. Xiao Hong explained, "Big brother Lu, my mother made quite a lot of biscuits. I wanted to send some over to you. I didn't expect to see this scene." Chapter 535. Xiao Hong continued, "Brother Lu, aren't they just a little richer? They used money to humiliate others. Zhao Yun'er is too much. She clearly knows that you're good to her because you like her, but now she's asking the heir to come over and take the money to cut off all ties with you. She's a greedy woman. That's why she thought of using this method to humiliate others." Lu Lei said unhappily, "Enough, stop talking. Brother Lu, you still want to protect Zhao Yun'er, don't you? Don't you see what kind of person she is?" Brother Lu, I know you like her, but you can't continue to be like this. There's no possibility between you and her anymore. Don't you care about my feelings for you? You know that I like you." As Xiao Hong spoke, she moved her body forward and wanted to stick to Lu Lei's body. "Xiao Hong, you're a girl. Don't be like this. It's not good if others see you like this." Lu Lei was scared and moved away gratefully. "Brother Lu, don't you like me at all? Why don't you consider me when Zhao Yun'er doesn't like you?" Xiao Hong's eyes were red and there were tears in her eyes. She looked pitiful. "Xiao Hong, give me some time." Seeing that Xiao Hong was about to cry, Lu Lei couldn't bear to say it. Xiao Hong was a little excited. "Okay, brother Lu, I'll wait for you." Xiao Hong thought to herself. It wasn't easy for Lu Lei to be willing to consider her now. She would wait slowly. She believed that Lu Lei would agree one day. She didn't know that the shameless scene of her pestering Lu Lei just now had been seen by someone else. This person was Ma Xiaofeng. Seeing Xiao Hong like this, she didn't say anything. After all, Xiao Hong had helped her before. She couldn't tell others about it. However, seeing Xiao Hong like this, Ma Xiaofeng thought that she wasn't young anymore. Should she learn from Xiao Hong and take the initiative to seduce men? After all, she could marry a good man while she was young. That would make her life easier in the future. Otherwise, when she was older, her mother might casually marry her off or sell her. On the way back, Mu Lianfeng asked cautiously, "Yun'er, is Lu Lei very unhappy? What do you think? If we take the money directly, it'll be like giving alms. Will they be happy?" "Alright, it's my fault." Zhao Yun'er sighed and said, "There's nothing we can do about it. If you want to be grateful, I'll see if I can find an opportunity to help him in the future." "Got it, Yun'er?" Mu Lianfeng nodded. Zhao Yun'er smiled. "Don't think so much. Let's go back and prepare something delicious." "Alright." Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng arrived at the door of their house. Seeing Dao Du squatting on the ground and crying, Mu Lianfeng hurriedly ran over and asked Dao Du worriedly, "Dao Du, what's wrong? Did someone bully you? Mu Lianfeng's brows knitted together, and his eyes suddenly became sharp. As soon as he saw that his son might have been bullied, the coldness that burst out from his body made people feel scared. Daodu raised his head. Dad, Daodu wasn't bullied. It was little He who was bullied. As Daodu spoke, he carried little He out of his arms. Chapter 536. Daodu, what happened to little He? Zhao Yun'er looked at the wounds on little He's body. She was shocked and worried. Being asked by Zhao Yun'er, Daodu cried even harder. Alright Daodu, don't cry. Tell me what happened to little He. Zhao Yun'er squatted down and touched Daodu's head. Mu Lianfeng also comforted him. Daodu, you're a man. Don't cry. Tell me what happened. Hearing Mu Lianfeng's words, Daodu wiped his tears and hugged little He. Father, it was Big Gray who bit little He. Today when I took little He out to play, we ran into Big Gray. It chased after little He and bit him, but I couldn't beat Big Gray, so I couldn't protect little He. Daodu's tone was full of self-blame. Little He was his companion, and Daodu felt that he should protect little He well. The Big Gray that Daodu mentioned was Zhao Yun'er's eldest grandmother, Mrs. Hu. She was the one who had come to ask for help a few days ago. In Zhao Yun'er's memory, there was a big gray dog in Mrs. Hu's house. His tail was cut and it was very fierce. It was also very big, not much smaller than Xiao Mao. When the people and animals in the village saw Big Gray, they would avoid it. Otherwise, if they provoked Big Gray, they would either be bitten to death or disabled. Zhao Yun'er was glad that Daodu was fine. If he was bitten by Big Gray, his condition might be worse than little He's. Zhao Yun'er sighed and comforted him. Alright Daodu, it's not your fault. Let's check on little He first and see if he can still be saved. Okay. Show it to father. Mu Lianfeng said. Daodu handed little Black over. After Mu Lianfeng took it, he saw that little Black was on the verge of death. The injuries on its body were quite serious. How could such a small puppy withstand the bites of a big dog? Mu Lianfeng frowned. It was a little tricky to deal with Blackie's injuries. Daodu asked worriedly, Father, can Blackie still be saved? Zhao Yun'er was also concerned. After all, she had raised little Black for such a long time and had long developed feelings for it. Zhao Yun'er also did not want anything to happen to little Black. Such a cute and sensible puppy had died just like that. Daodu would probably cry himself to death. There's still hope, Mu Lianfeng said. Really? Daodu's eyes brightened up a little. Yes. Mu Lianfeng nodded, but we have to treat little Black's injuries first. Later we'll go up the mountain to find a few herbs and bandage little Black's injuries. It'll only recover after a few days of rest. Okay. As long as little Black can be saved, Daodu said excitedly. Zhao Yun'er hurriedly took out something like a cotton cloth and used it to treat little Black's injuries. Just looking at the wounds was painful. Big Gray was really a little too cruel. He had bitten so deeply. Did he have to go so far for his own kind? Little Black's dying appearance was very pitiful. They did not know if it was because they had hurt it, but it lifted its eyelids. Daodu looked at little Black with a pained expression. Little Black, you have to hang in there. My father will go back to get some herbs to save you. You must be fine. Daodu still wants to play with you in the future. Chapter 537. Alright Daodu, leave Xiao He at home for now. Let's hurry to the mountains to pick herbs. Mu Lianfeng said. Yes. Daodu nodded heavily. Zhao Yun'er picked up a basket, and the three of them headed up the mountain. Fortunately, Shuilan village was next to the mountains, and there were all kinds of herbs on the mountain. Otherwise, who knew how long it would take to buy them at this time? Mu Lianfeng carried Daodu on his back as they walked on the rugged mountain path. Zhao Yun'er looked at Mu Lianfeng's broad back and Daodu's small body together, and a warm feeling appeared in her heart. It was good to be reunited with father and son. Daddy, are you tired? Daodu, do you want to come down and walk by yourself? Daodu asked in a soft voice. Mu Lianfeng's lips curled up slightly. Of course not. How could Daddy be tired? Daddy's strength is so great. Dodo sighed. Of course. Daddy can only protect you and your mother with this. Mu Lianfeng replied with a smile. Then Daodu must grow as tall as Daddy in the future, and then protect mother. Daodu's soft voice sounded. Daodu is a good man. In the future, us father and son will protect your mother together. Okay. Hearing the conversation between father and son, Zhao Yun'er's eyebrows were tinged with a smile. Perhaps this was the happiest thing in a woman's life. To have a husband and son like this, she was very lucky. The three of them slowly entered the mountains. The spring scenery was getting thicker and it was almost March. The vegetation in the mountains was more lush, and there were many thorns on both sides of the road. If one was not careful, it was easy to hook one's leg and cause a wound. Mu Lianfeng walked in front. Whenever they encountered such a situation, he would specially remind Zhao Yun to be careful. After walking for about 20 minutes, they slowly entered the mountain. The herbs should be here. We can find them now. Mu Lianfeng, what do we need? Zhao Yun'er asked. Red-crowned crane grass, Hautuinia grass, and earthen cassia grass are all fine. There's also iron thread grass and white earth grass, Mu Lianfeng said. These were all herbs used to stop bleeding and prevent dog bites. Zhao Yun'er nodded and said to Mu Lianfeng, why don't we split up? It'll be faster this way. Mu Lianfeng didn't agree. Yun'er, let's go together. It's too dangerous in the mountains. If we encounter any ferocious beasts, how can a woman like you deal with them? In the end, Mu Lianfeng was still too concerned about her. He was worried that Zhao Yun'er would have an accident. Zhao Yun'er met Mu Lianfeng's worried eyes and had to give up. The weather was getting warmer and warmer. The ferocious beasts in the mountains were indeed starting to move out, as Mu Lianfeng said. If they encountered wild boars and wolves, they really couldn't deal with them. Okay, let's go together. Okay. The two of them searched for a while and found the Hautuinia grass. They hurriedly picked it and put it in the basket, then continued to look for the next herb. However, although there were many herbs in the mountains, it was still not easy to find a specific type. In particular, the vegetation was lush, and many herbs were hidden in the grass. It was difficult to find them in a short time. After searching for almost half an hour, they still couldn't find the iron thread grass. Why don't we go deeper into the mountains to look for it? There are more herbs there. Maybe we can find it, Zhao Yun'er asked. Chapter 538. There was no other way now. If they didn't go in and try, they probably wouldn't be able to find the herb. Little Black's injury still needed immediate treatment. Mu Lianfeng pondered for a moment, then said to Zhao Yun'er, let's go in and try. Okay. Zhao Yun'er nodded. The three of them slowly went deep into the mountains. The vegetation was indeed a lot more lush, especially the trees above their heads. They were probably over 100 years old, and their branches were especially thick. Because of this, they covered a lot of the sun, and the light inside was also a lot dimmer. And the temperature was a little lower. Walking inside, a layer of cold air was emitted from their bodies. Seeing Zhao Yun'er curled up, Mu Lianfeng asked with concern, Yun'er, are you cold? It's a little cold, but it's okay. Let's continue looking. It'll be good if we find it. Mu Lianfeng nodded. In the beginning they didn't find the herb, but they encountered a lot of prey. But when a wild rabbit passed by in front of them, Mu Lianfeng picked up a few stones on the ground and threw them over. It was very accurate and it was killed in one hit. The wild rabbit that was hit by the stone lay on the ground and struggled for a few times, but it was no longer moving. Zhao Yun'er opened her mouth in surprise. This was a little too exaggerated. When people went hunting in the mountains, they had to bring a bow and arrow. Otherwise, the fast rabbit wouldn't be able to catch up. But Mu Lianfeng, a few stones settled it. This was too scary. Zhao Yun'er looked deeply at Mu Lianfeng. She seemed to have a new understanding of Mu Lianfeng. He was so outstanding. She still underestimated him. This man was more powerful than anyone else. Zhao Yun'er also suddenly felt that with such a man by her side, she could really rely on him for a lifetime. Daodu clapped in joy and said to Mu Lianfeng, Daddy, you're awesome. Is that so? Mu Lianfeng's lips curled up. Yes. Daodu nodded heavily. Today you're the best Daodu has ever seen. Can you teach this to Daodu in the future? Of course you can. Daddy will teach you whatever you want to learn, Daodu. Zhao Yun'er picked up the hair on the ground and put it into the basket. Then she said to Daodu and Mu Lianfeng, we can eat hare meat tonight. Yes, Daodu likes it. Daodu couldn't help but drool at the thought of Zhao Yun'er's roasted rabbit meat. Let's go. Let's continue looking for herbs. Little Black is still waiting for us. At the mention of Little Black, Daodu's eyes darkened, and he seemed very downcast. Zhao Yun'er had no way to comfort her, so she could only hurry up and find the herbs. Fortunately, they finally found it after searching for a while. Zhao Yun'er used a small shovel to gently dig out the herbs, shook off the soil at the roots and put it into the basket. Okay, we found it. Let's go back and save Little Black, Zhao Yun'er said with a smile. Daodu's furrowed brows finally relaxed. Yes. Then let's hurry back. Okay. Just as the three of them turned around, there was a sudden movement behind them. It seemed like something was walking towards them, and the withered branches on the ground creaked. Mu Lianfeng's expression suddenly became serious. His intuition told him that danger was slowly approaching them. Chapter 539. It's a tiger. Wild beasts such as tigers, wolves, and wild boars were the scariest in the deep mountains. Tigers were the kings of all beasts and were even more difficult to deal with. What kind of luck did they have to encounter one today? Zhao Yun'er's heart clenched. She knew that if the tiger couldn't defeat them, their entire family might lose their lives here. What should we do? Zhao Yun'er looked at Mu Lianfeng worriedly. Mu Lianfeng hugged Zhao Yun'er tightly and whispered into Zhao Yun'er's ear, "Yun'er, don't be afraid. I'm here." Zhao Yun'er could only trust Mu Lianfeng now. This man would definitely protect her and Daodu. The danger was getting closer and closer. Mu Lianfeng's brows were tightly knitted together. He looked around and handed Daodu to Zhao Yun'er. Then he hugged Zhao Yun'er, jumped, and landed on a tree. "Yun'er, you and Daodu stay up there. Don't come down. I'll deal with that beast." Zhao Yun'er grabbed Mu Lianfeng. "Tigers aren't easy to deal with. You should also stay in the tree and wait for it to leave." Zhao Yun'er was glad that tigers didn't know how to climb trees. Otherwise they really wouldn't know what to do today. Mu Lianfeng shook his head. "Yun'er, if I don't go down, that beast will still be guarding below. We won't be able to waste too much time with it. Don't worry, I'll be careful." But Zhao Yun'er's brows were still tightly knitted. She was still worried about Mu Lianfeng. "Be good. You have to trust your man. I won't do anything that I'm not sure of." Mu Lianfeng said and gently kissed Zhao Yun'er's forehead. Zhao Yun'er blushed in front of Daodu. However, she didn't have the time to be shy at this moment. Facing such a great danger, she still didn't know if they could survive. "For the sake of you and Daodu, I still have to take care of you for the rest of my life. I won't allow anything to happen to me." Mu Lianfeng seemed to be talking to Zhao Yun'er, but also to himself. Looking at Mu Lianfeng's determined eyes, Zhao Yun'er took a deep breath. "Then be careful. This is for you." Zhao Yun'er took out a knife from her basket. She had brought it with her when she entered the mountain. It was the only defensive tool she had in her hand. Mu Lianfeng took it. As for the tiger, it had already walked over and arrived under the tree. It roared at the tree and opened its bloody mouth. Daodu was so scared that he started crying. Zhao Yun'er hugged Daodu tightly in her arms and covered his eyes. "Daodu, don't be afraid. Daddy and I are here." Mu Lianfeng glanced at Zhao Yun'er and Daodu and jumped down from the tree. "Mu Lianfeng, you have to be careful," Zhao Yun'er warned. After Mu Lianfeng jumped down, the tiger attacked Mu Lianfeng. Roar! The tiger leaped and pounced on Mu Lianfeng. Zhao Yun'er's heart tightened. Fortunately, Mu Lianfeng dodged. She finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, after the tiger missed, it attacked again. This time it was more irritable. It bared its fangs and pounced straight over. Looking at such a huge monster attacking in anger, Zhao Yun'er trembled in fear. Her hands, which were holding Daodu, couldn't help but tremble. They were facing a tiger and not something else. How could an ordinary person deal with this thing? After all, fighting a tiger with martial arts was just a story. Chapter 540. Zhao Yun'er comforted him. "Daodu, don't be afraid. You'll be fine. Your daddy is so powerful. He can beat a tiger." Daodu is so scared that something will happen to daddy. If something happens to daddy, what will Daodu do? It wasn't easy for Daodu to finally have a daddy. Hearing Daodu's pitiful words, Zhao Yun'er felt her heart ache. Mu Lianfeng and the tiger were fighting fiercely under the tree. Mu Lianfeng was at a disadvantage. He could only dodge the tiger's attacks and not let it get close enough to hurt him. This was already not easy. After being teased by Mu Lianfeng, the tiger had used up a lot of its strength. Mu Lianfeng was also tired and panting. However, Mu Lianfeng would not take the initiative to attack in a situation where he was not completely confident. Zhao Yun'er watched the battle anxiously. She was worried for Mu Lianfeng. The tiger was already starting to get impatient and irritable. It directly charged over. The corners of Mu Lianfeng's mouth curled up, revealing a devilish smile. This smile made people feel that he was peerlessly beautiful and could cause the downfall of a city. If it weren't for this special occasion, Zhao Yun'er would have liked to admire it. This man was simply a demon. Just as the tiger was charging over, Mu Lianfeng jumped and landed on the tiger's body. The tiger jumped a few times, but unfortunately, it could not shake off Mu Lianfeng. The tiger roared anxiously. Perhaps it felt that it was in danger, and there was a hint of sadness in its roar. Mu Lianfeng seized this opportunity. Without hesitation, he stabbed the knife in his hand into the tiger's head. The knife was stabbed very deeply into the center of the tiger's head. The entire knife was buried in. Brr. The tiger roared a few times. After struggling for a while, it lay on the ground and did not move. It was dead. It was finally dead. Mu Lianfeng wiped the beads of sweat off his forehead and heaved a sigh of relief. Looking at the motionless tiger on the ground, his furrowed brows relaxed. If this continued for a while longer, his physical strength would not be able to keep up. Yuner. Daodu. Mu Lianfeng looked at Zhao Yuner and Daodu on the tree and smiled. Fortunately, with the danger resolved, he could continue to accompany Zhao Yuner and Daodu. Mu Lianfeng leaped and landed on the tree again. He hugged Daodu and Zhao Yuner tightly in his arms. Yuner. Daodu. Daddy. Daodu also hugged Mu Lianfeng excitedly. Zhao Pinger was very afraid that something would happen to Mu Lianfeng. Fortunately, Mu Lianfeng was fine. Immersed in Mu Lianfeng's arms, Zhao Yuner felt that this moment was indescribably beautiful. Mu Lianfeng fought with the tiger for so long that his body was covered in sweat. Zhao Yuner and Daodu did not mind at all. Because of this, the hearts of the whole family were tightly glued together. After a while, Mu Lianfeng carried Daodu and Zhao Yuner down from the tree. Zhao Yuner stared at the tiger on the ground. This was a good thing. Such a big tiger, its whole body was treasures. The tiger skin could be sold for a lot of money. However, Zhao Yuner was not prepared to sell it. After she went back, she would peel the tiger's skin and keep it as a treasure. It was excellent to use in winter to keep out the cold. Zhao Yuner and Daodu looked at Mu Lianfeng with admiration. Mu Lianfeng stood tall in their hearts. He even killed a tiger. If word got out, it would probably shock many people. Chapter 541. Yek. Mu Lianfeng replied. Daddy, you're really amazing. Can Daodu learn kung fu from you in the future? That way Daodu can kill a tiger if he meets one. Mu Lianfeng laughed and said to Daodu, Okay, then Daddy will teach Daodu kung fu later. Yes. Daodu nodded heavily. Let's carry the tiger back. We can cook tiger meat for a few days when we go back. Zhao Yuner said. If this was the 21st century, who could eat tiger meat? The country's protected animals could only be seen a few times in the zoo. However, looking at the tiger on the ground, it was at least 200 kilograms. It was very heavy to carry. Okay. Mu Lianfeng responded. As he spoke, he directly carried the tiger on his body. It didn't seem to take much effort. Zhao Yuner looked at Mu Lianfeng in surprise. This man was too strong. How could he pick up such a heavy thing as if he was picking up a chick? What's wrong, Yuner? Mu Lianfeng asked when he saw Zhao Yuner looking at him in a daze. Zhao Yuner reacted and shook her head. It's nothing. Let's hurry down the mountain. Yes. Mu Lianfeng carried the tiger. Zhao Yuner originally wanted to carry Daodu, but Daodu refused. Mother, Daodu is a man. Daodu has to protect Mother. How can I let Mother carry me? But the mountain path is not easy. It's okay, Mother. Daodu can do it. Okay then, Mother, hold Daodu's hand. Yes. Mu Lianfeng walked in front, while Zhao Yuner and Daodu walked behind him. It was easier to go down the mountain than to go up the mountain. It was not as tiring, so they did not need to rest and went straight to the foot of the mountain. After entering the village, the villagers saw Mu Lianfeng carrying a big tiger on his back. They were so shocked that their jaws almost fell to the ground. Soon, the news that the crown prince was going to hunt a tiger from the mountains spread throughout the village. After Zhao Yuner and Mu Lianfeng went back, they first put the tiger in the yard. Then they took out some herbs, ground them, and applied them to little Hei's wound. Change the medicine every day and the wound should slowly heal. Don't worry. Mu Lianfeng patted Daodu's head and comforted him. Yeah. Daodu looked at Mu Lianfeng. Father, you're so amazing. You're the best father. Daodu is so happy to have a father like you. Because Mu Lianfeng could save little Hei, hunt the tiger, and protect him and his mother. In Daodu's heart, Mu Lianfeng was his hero. Daodu is so amazing. How can a father be bad? Mu Lianfeng smiled. Little Hei, you have to get better soon. Father has already prepared medicine for you. When you're better, I'll give you a lot of meat. Daodu patted little Hei and whispered into his ear. The little puppy looked up and barked at Daodu as a response. Okay, Daodu, let little Hei rest. Don't disturb his rest. Okay, Mother. Let's go and skin the tiger. Hearing this, Daodu responded excitedly. After the family left the house, they found that many villagers had gathered in front of the door to join in the fun. Killing a tiger, this was too shocking. One had to know that many people who entered the mountains were eaten by tigers. It was because of this that there were people in the village who dared to enter the mountains. Chapter 542. His Royal Highness is really amazing. He even knocked the tiger down from the mountain. Yeah, not many people can do that. His Royal Highness is a hero. Such a big tiger, it's a good thing. Zhao Yun'er's family is going to be rich now. Fighting a tiger with his bare hands? I really want to see His Royal Highness's majestic appearance. That's amazing. Not only is the Crown Prince's status extraordinary, but his ability is also extraordinary. So, some people are destined to be extraordinary. Many women and young girls showed admiration to Mu Lianfeng. He was rich, had a high status, and was also very handsome. Now he was so outstanding. He was the ideal man in many women's hearts. After comparing, many women thought of their own men and felt that they were too inferior. However, they couldn't get such a good man. Only Zhao Yun'er was lucky. The onlookers wanted to see how Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng would deal with such a big tiger. There was so much meat on the tiger that it was comparable to a pig. Zhao Yun'er couldn't eat it all. Would she share some with the villagers? Yun'er, how should we deal with this tiger? Mu Lianfeng asked. Zhao Yun'er stared at the tiger on the ground. It was full of treasures. Tiger meat could be eaten, and it had many effects. It could nourish the stomach and blood, strengthen the muscles and bones, and so on. It was a rare treasure. The tiger bones could be used to make wine. There were many effects. The tiger skin was also a valuable thing. It could be sold for a lot of money, but Zhao Yun'er certainly wouldn't sell it. As for the tiger penis, it was very helpful for men in that aspect. When men couldn't do it, they would often eat some cattle penis and sheep penis to strengthen their sexual drive. The tiger penis was more effective than cattle penis and sheep penis. It could warm the kidneys, strengthen the sexual drive, and nourish the marrow. Those rich and noble families would buy it at a high price. A tiger penis could be sold for dozens of taels of silver. Skin it first, but I don't know how to do it. Mu Lianfeng, do you know how to do it? Zhao Yun'er asked. Mu Lianfeng shook his head. I'm not very skilled. I don't know if I can skin it well. Tiger skin is a good thing. It will be a waste if it is damaged. You can't skin it casually. Zhao Yun'er nodded. It was indeed troublesome to skin of such a big tiger. If it was damaged, it wouldn't be so valuable. At this time, someone stood up and said, Little Yun'er, Lu Lei often goes hunting in the mountains. He's good at skinning. Such a big tiger, why don't you let him skin it for you? Why don't you give him some tiger meat later? Zhao Yun'er felt that it was quite reasonable. She originally planned to invite Lu Lei. With such a big movement in the village, Lu Lei happened to come to her place to join in the fun. When he heard the news, Lu Lei didn't believe it. The tiger's attack power was so strong. How could a person deal with it barehanded? He had been in the mountains for so long. If he didn't run in time, he would have been swallowed into the tiger's stomach. After walking for a while, he arrived at Zhao Yun'er's house. He saw a lot of people in front of Zhao Yun'er's courtyard. A tiger was lying on the ground in front of the courtyard. Lu Lei's eyes were filled with shock. It really was a tiger. It seemed that the villagers weren't talking nonsense. Chapter 543. No wonder Yun'er chose Mu Lianfeng instead of him. Lu Lei sighed as he suddenly understood something. In fact, no matter what, as long as Yun'er was happy, everything was fine. Since there was such a good man who could take good care of her, there was no reason for him to be unhappy. Ah, speak of the devil, Lu Lei is here. Lu Lei, go and help Yun'er peel the tiger's skin. Let us have a look. Zhao Yun'er's sight fell on Lu Lei. Seeing Lu Lei coming over, she said with a smile, Lazy, can you peel the tiger's skin for me? There is no one else in the village except you. The corners of Lu Lei's mouth twitched as he nodded. Of course, give me the saber. Okay, thank you, Lazy. No problem. In fact, Lu Lei was also a little excited. Facing such a big tiger, he was amazed. It was his first time peeling the tiger's skin. Before hunting, he only peeled the skin of some smaller prey. Many furs could be sold for money, and some were even more valuable than the prey's meat. After peeling the skin for a long time, he naturally gained experience. However, he had never tried peeling such a big tiger before. After Lu Lei took the knife, he made a cut on the tiger's neck. With a hiss sound, a piece of the tiger's skin was torn off. Lu Lei didn't hesitate and continued peeling it. His movements were very smooth. In a short while, a complete tiger's skin was peeled off. The onlookers were amazed. It turned out that Lu Lei was so amazing. When he peeled the tiger's skin, his eyes were sharp and focused. His movements were neat and the muscles on his arms twitched. It seemed that he was very powerful. The women looked at him and couldn't help being fascinated. Why didn't they know that Lu Lei was so charming before? He was a real man. It was a pity that he was too poor. If he was better, perhaps the women would be willing to marry him. Lu Lei peeled off the complete tiger's skin and handed it to Zhao Yuner. He said to Zhao Yuner, "Yuner, this tiger's skin has just been peeled off. You have to dry it in the sun." Zhao Yuner nodded. There was a trace of gratitude and admiration in her tone. "Lazy, thank you. You're so amazing." Being praised by Zhao Yuner, Lu Lei felt embarrassed. "It's nothing." "Haha, you're amazing." Lu Lei forced a smile. "No matter how powerful I am, I'm not as powerful as Lord Air. Lord Air actually brought back a tiger. If it were me, I would never be able to do it." Lu Lei said. He glanced at Mu Lianfeng, who was behind Zhao Yuner. "Everyone has different specialties. You're also very good at skinning tigers. I can't do that. I just know some kung fu, so I killed a tiger." Lu Lei didn't expect Mu Lianfeng to say that. He didn't look down on him, nor did he show off. He suddenly understood why Zhao Yuner liked this man. It was because Mu Lianfeng was too outstanding. It was not only because of Mu Lianfeng's identity, but also because of Mu Lianfeng's money. "Yuner, I'll help you deal with the tiger's skin," Lu Lei said. He thought that Zhao Yuner and Mu Lianfeng were not good at it. Zhao Yuner didn't refuse Lu Lei. "Lazy, thank you." "No problem. Bring me a few baskets. I'll do it." Chapter 544. After finding the veins and texture of the tiger meat, he cut the tiger meat with a sharp knife. The tiger meat and bones were separated. As for the tiger's internal organs, only the gallbladder was left, and the rest were thrown away. There was a lot of meat from a tiger. It filled 2 big baskets and a big basin of bones. It took Lu Lei almost an hour to finish all of this. "Brother Lei, you must be tired. Wash your hands first, wipe your sweat, and drink some water." Okay. This was a laborious work. Lu Lei was very tired after finishing it, but he felt much better after resting for a while. The processing of the tiger meat was finally done. Looking at so much tiger meat, if it was sold to a restaurant, it could be sold at a good price. Common prey was not cheap, let alone this rare tiger meat. 500 grams was estimated to be 100 copper coins. However, Zhao Yuner now had Mu Lianfeng, so she should not be short of money. She probably would not sell this tiger meat. The onlooking villagers had no intention of leaving. "You and Prince Shitzi probably can't finish this much tiger meat. People in our village have never tasted it before. Why don't you give us some to try?" At this time, a woman stood out and said. Since there was one, there was a second. Other greedy villagers also echoed. "Yes, Yun, if we can't finish it, it will be a waste. We have never seen anyone in our village who can get a tiger to eat, let alone know the taste of tiger meat. Why don't you give us some so that we can have a good meal? Prince Shitzi is so powerful and extraordinary. He will definitely share the tiger meat with everyone." Zhao Yuner only felt that these people were ridiculous. She did not know how these people were shameless enough to say it. There were so many people. Even if each family only had a little, it would be a lot. Before Zhao Yuner could say anything, old Zhao's family heard about it and came to join in the fun. As soon as Hua Chunhua heard other women say such shameless words, she immediately scolded them. She spat on the ground and said, "You shameless bitches, I will give you more to eat. Why don't I see that you have something good to give to others?" Zhao Yuner glanced at Hua Chunhua. It was rare that Hua Chunhua could scold people so well. Zhao Yuner also knew that Hua Chunhua was afraid that unrelated people would share the tiger meat. If that happened, there would be no way to give it to old Zhao's family. "So it's Auntie Zhao. Didn't you come here for tiger meat too? Don't tell us that you don't want to eat later?" A woman retorted. Hua Chunhua snorted, "How can I be the same as you? In any case, Yun is a member of our Zhao family. She's my granddaughter. Giving me tiger meat to eat is something I should do out of filial piety." "Elder? Granddaughter? That's not what you said in the beginning. You even kicked Yun out of the house. You said it yourself that Yun and old Zhao's family had separated, so she is no longer a member of the old Zhao's family. Now that Yun is living a good life, you want to come here to curry favor with her." A woman couldn't stand it and sneered. Zhao Yun stood aside quietly. She only felt that it was very interesting. These people were so funny. Watching the women in the village quarrel, she wanted to know what else they could do. Chapter 545. Hua Chunhua was so angry that she made threatening gestures. "So what if I say it? I'm telling the truth. My mouth is on my body, so why don't you say it?" "Damn woman, I'll teach you a lesson." As she spoke, Hua Chunhua rushed towards the woman who had spoken, and the two of them began to wrestle. The battle became intense for a moment. Old Zhao's people hurriedly pulled the two of them apart. Even so, Hua Chunhua was still injured and there was a big scratch on her face. The other woman's condition was also quite serious, and the scar on her face was very obvious. The other villagers were just here to join in the fun, and they liked to see this kind of quarrel. Enough, if you want to fight, don't do it in front of my house. Zhao Yun raised her voice. Also, if you want to eat the tiger meat, you can't tell me. You have to discuss it with the heir. He brought it back. Zhao Yun directly pushed this matter to Mu Lianfeng. The villagers weren't fools. How would they dare to ask Mu Lianfeng for the tiger meat? Even if they were greedy, they could only think about it. Many of the sensible villagers left, but there were still a few who were unwilling to give up. They dawdled for a while, and after being glared at by Mu Lianfeng, they went back in a strange manner. When Zhao Yun'er saw these people leave, she breathed a sigh of relief and began to move the tiger meat into the house. "Mother, how are you? Does it hurt?" Li Chuiying asked. "It hurts, how can it not hurt? Try scratching your face. That damn woman is too cruel. She scratched my face." Hua Chunhua cursed. "Mother, you've lost a lot of blood. You need to eat something good to nourish yourself. Yun just happens to have a lot of tiger meat here. If we bring some back, it can be a good nourishment for you." Feng Zhangxiao also said, "That's right, mother's injuries aren't light. She needs to be nourished well. Eating tiger meat is the best." If it was something else, they wouldn't care about it. But tiger meat was a rare good thing. Since Zhao Yun'er had so much, there was no harm in giving some to old Zhao's family. "Third sister-in-law, why don't you talk to Yun'er about it? Look at mother's condition. You and third brother are usually the most filial. You can't watch mother lose so much blood and not even eat anything to nourish her body." Feng Zhangxiao was more shrewd than Li Chuiying. She knew that it would be difficult to get it from Zhao Yun'er. If she instigated Liang Jinxiao, the chances were much higher. Liang Jinxiao's lips twitched awkwardly. She really couldn't refuse. Looking at the scars on Hua Chunhua's face, she more or less sympathized with her. She sighed and said to Feng Zhangxiao, "Eldest sister-in-law, then I'll go and try. I'll talk to Yun'er and see if she can give some to our parents." Seeing that Liang Jinxiao agreed, Feng Zhangxiao immediately flattered. "Third sister-in-law is the most filial. Sure enough, it's true." Liang Jinxiao went to Zhao Yun'er's room and told Zhao Yun'er what had just happened. Zhao Yun'er thought for a moment and finally agreed. After all, not everyone in old Zhao's family was annoying. Her fourth uncle, fourth aunt, and second cousin were all very good people. Moreover, she had a lot of tiger meat here and couldn't finish it in a short time. Zhao Yun'er took 10 caddies of tiger meat to old Zhao's family and asked her parents to take 30 caddies back. 10 caddies of tiger meat would be given to Zhao Ping'er's in-laws. Chapter 546. Old Zhao's family went back happily after getting the tiger meat. Actually, Yun'er is a good girl. She's quite generous this time. She gave us so much tiger meat. Feng Zhangxiao praised her on the way back. That's what she should do. She's eaten so much of our food since she was young. How could she not be able to compete with this little tiger meat? Hua Chunhua replied unhappily. Feng Zhangxiao smiled embarrassedly. "Mom, you can't say that. If Yun'er didn't give it to us, we couldn't do anything about it." Hua Chunhua thought about it and agreed. "That's because she's being generous for once. Mom, let's go back and cook the tiger meat." Okay. When it came to cooking tiger meat, old Zhao's family was more enthusiastic than anyone else. With so many people in old Zhao's family, they could eat a lot of tiger meat. When they got home, Zhao Wenshui was sitting in the yard with his legs crossed. He was wiping his mouth and thinking about what had just happened. He went to Qian Chuanxiu's house again today. Although Qian Chuanxiu told him not to go during the day, he couldn't help it. He shamelessly wandered around in front of Qian Chuanxiu's house. Qian Chuanxiu was afraid of being seen, so she had to let him in. At that time, only Qian Chuanxiu's youngest son was in the house. He was only 6 or 7 years old. A child at that age didn't know anything, so Qian Chuanxiu didn't avoid it. After Zhao Wenshui enjoyed himself, Qian Lixia drove him out. "Zhao Wenshui, you have to do what you promised me." Before Zhao Wenshui left, Qian Chuanxiu reminded him. It had been 2 days, but there was still no news. Qian Chuanxiu was very doubtful about whether he could do it. "Don't worry. But it has to be done slowly. Zhao Yun'er can't be persuaded all at once. Don't forget what you said. Otherwise, don't even think about getting into my bed." "I know, but how can you bear to part with me? If I'm happy, won't you be happy too?" Zhao Wenshui said with a sly smile. Qian Chuanxiu glared at Zhao Wenshui. "You think I'm happy with this job? You can't even do it for a while. I'm not talking about you. You're much worse than my dead man. You're not even 1/10 of him. Zhao Wenshui smiled embarrassedly. How could it be so bad? My job isn't as bad as you described, right? Humph, you should comfort yourself. You probably haven't seen what a good job looks like. Qian Chuanxiu snorted. Zhao Wenshui was confused after hearing Qian Chuanxiu's words. Was it true that he couldn't do it? It was a huge blow to a man. When Li Chuang saw Zhao Wenshui, he asked, Tianyu's father, where have you been? I couldn't find you for half a day. Hearing Li Chuang's question, Zhao Wenshui came back to his senses. She casually said, nothing much. I just wasn't feeling well, so I went out for a walk. After going out for a walk, I feel much better. Hua Chunhua glared at Zhao Wenshui. What do you mean by, wasn't feeling well? I think you're just lazy. You're lazy like a maggot. You ran out because you don't want to work, right? I won't let you eat the tiger meat tonight. Hearing the mention of tiger meat, Zhao Wenshui's eyes lit up. Mom, what did you say? We're eating tiger meat tonight? Where did the tiger meat come from? It's good stuff. Chapter 547. If that's the case, then we can have a good meal tonight. I haven't eaten meat for a long time. I'm so hungry. Zhao Wenshui said excitedly. Looking at Zhao Wenshui's good-for-nothing appearance, Hua Chunhua felt angry. You're so lazy when it comes to work, but when it comes to food, you're so excited. Zhao Wenshui smiled fawningly. Mother, isn't this normal? Who has no interest in eating meat? Don't you think so? Hua Chunhua looked at Zhao Wenshui and replied, Why do I only have one son like you? Zhao Yun began to prepare the tiger meat and prepare to cook. It was getting late. Because of the tiger matter, they had delayed a lot of time. Yun I'll go back then. Liang Jinxiao held the tiger meat and said, Tianan is tired from working in the mountains today. He can eat meat to replenish his energy. The land at the foot of Old Zhao's mountain was too barren. They were afraid that the harvest would be too poor, so they picked some black soil from the village. It was definitely better than the sand and stone soil above. With more black soil and more fertilizer, the land would slowly become fertile. Of course, the villagers did not expect that the method of picking fertile soil was thought up by Zhao Yun. Picking up buckets of soil at the foot of the mountain was tiring work. Zhao Tianan was not very old. Liang Jinxiao felt sorry for a young man doing such a tiring job. Tiger meat was more nutritious than anything else. It was better than eating pork. After eating a few meals, Zhao Tianyu would be able to replenish his energy. Yes. Mother, you can go back now. Zhao Yun nodded in response. Liang Jinxiao carried the basket and left Zhao Yun's house. It was quite heavy to carry 40 kilograms. Auntie, do you want me to send it back for you? Mu Lianfeng approached Liang Jinxiao enthusiastically. Liang Jinxiao did not dare to trouble Mu Lianfeng and hurriedly waved his hand. No need. I can carry it myself. All right then. And he slowed down. It's nothing. After Liang Jinxiao left, Mu Lianfeng smiled at Zhao Yun'er and said, Yun'er, let's cook together. Zhao Yun'er did not refuse. Okay. Before the two of them entered the kitchen, they asked Lu Lei to wait outside so that they could eat together later. Lu Lei was a little restrained. He had promised to eat, so he couldn't refuse. He could only sit in front of Zhao Yun'er's door and wait. Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng entered the kitchen. Mu Lianfeng was in charge of cutting the vegetables. His knife skills were neat, and the tiger meat was cut neatly by him in a short while. Your knife skills are really good. Zhao Yun'er could not help but praise. Mu Lianfeng curled the corners of his mouth and smiled. Wife, you flatter me. Zhao Yun'er glared at Mu Lianfeng shyly. I haven't married you yet. You're already calling me wife. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by others? Mu Lianfeng did not take it seriously. So what? Yun'er, you're my wife. If it's possible, I want to marry you now. All right, let's cook. Zhao Yun'er did not want to argue with Mu Lianfeng. She knew that she could not win against Mu Lianfeng. As for tiger meat, Zhao Yun'er had not cooked it before, so she did not have much experience. However, the cooking method for meat was similar, so Zhao Yun'er cooked it according to the method for beef. She fried the braised tiger meat together with oil, salt, pepper, chili, ginger, garlic, cooking wine, vinegar, and soy sauce. After a while, a fragrant smell came from the kitchen, making people swallow their saliva. Chapter 548. Tiger meat was indeed a good thing. It smelled so good, but he didn't know how it would taste. But he thought that it wouldn't taste too bad. Lu Lei smelled the fragrance coming from the kitchen and couldn't help but stretch his head out to take a look. He didn't expect that someone of Mu Lianfeng's status would actually go to the kitchen to help Zhao Yun'er cook. This man was too different from what he had imagined. No wonder Zhao Yun'er liked Mu Lianfeng. In addition to the tiger meat, Zhao Yun'er also dealt with the rabbit they brought back from the mountain. She put some oil and salt on the iron fork and then roasted it in the stove. The wood inside the fire roasted the rabbit, making sizzling sounds. This kind of rabbit was roasted in its original taste and was especially fragrant. Zhao Yun'er had roasted it like this before. It was extremely fresh and delicious. She and Dao Du had also eaten the rabbit clean. The fragrance in the kitchen was getting stronger and stronger. This meal was extremely sumptuous for Lu Lei. When it was done, Mu Lianfeng moved the table out of the house and the few of them sat in the courtyard to eat. Seeing that Mu Lianfeng was busy, Lu Lei couldn't help but say, "Shi Ziyi, let me do it. You can rest." After all, he had a high status. This kind of rough work wasn't for someone like Mu Lianfeng to do. "It's okay. You're a guest. You can rest," Mu Lianfeng said as he turned around and went into the kitchen to start serving the dishes. Lu Lei sighed. His impression of Mu Lianfeng rose sharply. This man, if he were Zhao Yun'er, he would also choose him. The sumptuous dishes were placed on the table. Mu Lianfeng took out a jar of wine and prepared to drink a few cups with Lu Lei. Men couldn't eat without wine at the table. This time Lu Lei opened his heart to Mu Lianfeng and talked a lot, including his feelings for Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng. The more the two men talked, the happier they became. Because they had the same goal, they hoped that Zhao Yun'er could have a happier life. After the meal, Zhao Yun'er handed the tiger meat to Lu Lei and said to him, "Brother Lei, why don't you take some tiger bones back with you? You can use them to brew wine and drink them often. It's good for your body." "I've already taken so much meat, isn't it a little inappropriate to ask for more tiger bones?" Lu Lei was a little embarrassed to accept it. "It's okay, Brother Lei. You've helped us a lot today. It's what I should do. Anyway, there are so many tiger bones in this big basin." "All right then, Yun'er, I won't hold back then. Take it. You don't have to be so polite with me." Lu Lei didn't refuse anymore and kept the tiger bone. Tiger meat was indeed a good thing. Drinking it with wine was more nourishing than anything else. It was especially suitable for men like them. After Lu Lei left, Zhao Yun'er also packed up the things in the house. She picked out some things and sent them to Mulan. On the other side, at the foot of the mountain, Zhao Tianyu accidentally tripped and fell to the ground when he was picking soil. His knee was scraped by the stones on the ground. It hurt so much that he couldn't stand up for a while. "Hiss," Zhao Tianan gasped. There was no one at the foot of the mountain, and no one came to help him. He could only sit on the ground, frowning and endure the pain. He thought that he would be fine in a while. "What's wrong with you?" At this time, a girl's voice suddenly came from behind him. Zhao Tianan turned around. It was a beautiful girl. He also recognized her. Ma Xiaofeng. Zhao Tianan knew that his eldest sister Zhao Ping'er and Ma Xiaofeng were very close. Chapter 549. Your leg is bleeding. Ma Xiaofeng hurriedly rushed over and said with a nervous face. Being suddenly approached by the girl, Zhao Tianan even smelled the faint fragrance on Ma Xiaofeng's body. He usually didn't interact with girls, so when Ma Xiaofeng got so close to him, his face suddenly turned red. Hey, are you okay? Does it hurt?" Ma Xiaofeng asked with concern. Meeting Ma Xiaofeng's concerned eyes, Zhao Tianan blushed even more. He stuttered, I'm fine." As he spoke, he lowered his head, not daring to look at Ma Xiaofeng again. "You still say you're fine but your leg is bleeding." Ma Xiaofeng's tone revealed some distress, then she took out a handkerchief and began to bandage Zhao Tianan's leg. After Ma Xiaofeng wrapped it around his leg, she tied a cute bow. Seeing Ma Xiaofeng do these things for him, Zhao Tianan's heart thumped even harder. He was more introverted, and besides his own family he had never talked to other girls, let alone get so close. Ma Xiaofeng was the first girl to be so warm to him, such a good girl. His heart couldn't help but beat a few times. He still didn't dare to look up at Ma Xiaofeng. "I'm done bandaging," Ma Xiaofeng's pleasant voice sounded in Zhao Tianan's ear with a girl's innocence. Thank you, you're welcome. But your leg shouldn't be able to walk, right? There's no one at the foot of the mountain, why don't I help you back?" Ma Xiaofeng said enthusiastically. "This is not good, is it? Will it be too much trouble for you?" Zhao Tianan asked. "It's okay, it's no trouble. You're Ping'er sister's brother, it's my duty to help you." Zhao Tianan replied shyly, "Then, I'll have to trouble you." At the same time, Zhao Tianan glanced at Ma Xiaofeng. Seeing the sweet smile on Ma Xiaofeng's face, his feelings for Ma Xiaofeng became even more special. She looked really pretty when she smiled. He used to think that she was pretty, but he didn't think much of it at that time. At that time Ma Xiaofeng and Zhao Ping walked together and smiled. Now Ma Xiaofeng was smiling at him alone. Let's go. Ma Xiaofeng stepped forward, supported Zhao Tianan and pulled Zhao Tianan up from the ground. Put your hand on my shoulder, it'll be easier for the two of us to walk, Ma Xiaofeng said. Zhao Tianan blushed. When Ma Xiaofeng was holding his arm, he was already nervous to the point of being unable to bear it. If he were to put his arm on Ma Xiaofeng's shoulder, wouldn't that be equivalent to hugging Ma Xiaofeng? Ma Xiaofeng saw that Zhao Tianan didn't say anything, so she asked, "What's wrong?" Don't tell me you're shy? We're doing it openly, what are you shy about? Let's go. Otherwise it'll be late and I still have to help my mother cook. Hearing Ma Xiaofeng's words, Zhao Tianan didn't refuse anymore. He put one hand on Ma Xiaofeng's shoulder. The young girl leaned against his chest. She was soft and there was a sweet smell. Zhao Qinan's throat moved, and he swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva into his stomach. Be careful, your leg needs to heal properly. It's best if you don't move for the next few days, Ma Xiaofeng reminded him. Okay. Zhao Tianan became more and more shy. Ouch, on the way down the slope, one of them didn't walk steadily and the other fell. Chapter 550. The two of them fell to the ground. Zhao Tianan was on the bottom and Ma Xiaofeng was on top. The two of them were in an unusually ambiguous position. Zhao Tianan swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva. At this moment he suddenly had some kind of impulse in his heart, but he still controlled himself. Ma Xiaofeng lay on Zhao Qinan's body and said somewhat shyly, "Fortunately, there's no one else here. If we were seen like this, there would probably be some gossip. If there's gossip, then I'll definitely take responsibility for you. I can't let it affect your reputation. I'll marry you then." Zhao Tianan didn't know where he got the courage to say this to Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng's eyes lit up a little. Really? Of course, you're helping me? I can't just watch you get talked about. Ma Xiaofeng's lips curled up, and a sweet smile appeared on her face. Tianan, you're really a good man. If I'm going to marry in the future, I'll definitely marry someone like you who dares to take responsibility for his actions, Ma Xiaofeng said with a smile. Looking at the smile on Ma Xiaofeng's face and her words, Zhao Tianan didn't know how to respond. Ma Xiaofeng didn't continue on this topic. Instead, she got up from Zhao Qinan's body and helped Zhao Tianan back. On the way back, Ma Xiaofeng's lips curled up into a smile. She could see more clearly than anyone else that in the entire village, the family with the most potential was still Zhao Yun'er's family. Zhao Yun'er not only had a breakfast stall, but most importantly she had hooked up with the Shitzi. There would be plenty of money in the future. Zhao Qinan's conditions weren't bad. He was quite handsome, and among the boys in the village, he was considered one of the better ones. In addition, Zhao Qinan's character wasn't bad. He was more honest, reliable, and wasn't the kind of person who was scheming. If she married him in the future, she would have a good life. After all, Zhao Ping'er was closer to her and could help her at home. From the looks of it, Zhao Tianan seemed to be interested in her. Ma Xiaofeng was not as direct as Xiao Hong. She had to do it bit by bit if she wanted to keep a man in suspense. He went home happily. When he got home, Chen Chuanxia wasn't there. He didn't know where she went. Sister. Ma Xiaofeng called out softly as he walked in front of Ma Xiaofeng. What's wrong, Xiaolo? Ma Xiaofeng asked. Sis, let me tell you something. Don't tell mother. Yeah. Sis, mother let a man into our house today. They even went into the room, but mother didn't let me in. I heard my mother screaming from outside the door. She must have been beaten by that man. She screamed very miserably. Ma Xiaola said vividly. He was a child, so he didn't understand. However, Ma Xiaofeng knew what was going on. She was dumbfounded. Her mother was having an affair with someone. Xiaolo, do you know who that man is? I know. It's Zhao Tianyu's father. It's him? Ma Xiaofeng never expected this. However, this matter couldn't be known to others. If the villagers knew that her mother was having an affair, they would scold her to death. Even her reputation would be affected. Ma Xiaofeng was furious. How could her mother do such a thing? Wasn't she afraid of embarrassing herself if it was known? She didn't think about her and Xiaolu at all. She didn't want to be unable to raise her head in the village. Chapter 551. Ma Xiaola nodded and replied, Got it, sister. I won't tell anyone except you. Ma Xiaofeng patted Ma Xiaola's head and said, "Good boy." Zhao Yun sent the tiger meat and bones to Mulan's house. Mulan's man was tired from working, so she used the tiger bones to make wine for Zhu Eru. She was even busier with her 3 children. In the morning she had to set up a breakfast stall with Zhao Yun. In the afternoon she had to do breakfast, wash clothes and cook. Originally she wanted to join in the fun when Zhao Yun's house brought back a tiger. Unfortunately she couldn't get away, so she didn't go. Now Zhao Yun actually sent the tiger meat to her. Since she was so close to Zhao Yun, Mulan didn't stand on ceremony. "Yun, thank you. You're welcome. This tiger meat is good stuff. Hurry up and cook it." Okay, Yun." Mulan responded and carried the tiger meat into the kitchen. Madame Qi saw the tiger meat in Mulan's hands and knew that it was good stuff. She also wanted to try it. Madame Qi said, "Second sister-in-law, you have to show filial piety to mother and give her some to eat, right? She's not in good health. Tiger meat is very nutritious." Mulan wasn't very happy to hear Madame Qi's words. Those who didn't know better would think that her sister-in-law was filial. In fact, she was usually the one who bullied Mrs. Zhu. Now, it seemed like she was more considerate of Mrs. Zhu. Mulan wasn't a fool. She thought for a moment and said, "Sister-in-law, okay then. When I'm done cooking, I'll bring a bowl over for mother." When Madame Qi heard this, she quickly said, "There's no need to trouble you. Can't you just cut a little for me? I'll cook it." "Sister-in-law, it's not troublesome. I'll cook it in my own house." "Oh, second sister-in-law, I said I'll do it myself," Madame Qi said eagerly. She was going to snatch the meat from Mulan's hands directly. Mulan took a step back and said, "Sister-in-law, what are you doing? Why bother you? I'll bring it to mother. Besides, your cooking skills are not good. It'll be a waste if it's not good." "You?" Madame Qi looked at Mulan angrily. She didn't expect Mu to be so eloquent. She used to be suppressed at home. She didn't give it to her? She didn't give it to her, she to her steal it. Anyway, they share the kitchen. She eat, yunzes it. And it. There wasn't much wine at home. Mulan used half of the tiger bones sent by Zhao Yun'er to make wine and the other half to make soup. The taste of stewed tiger bones was much better than that of pork bones. Madame Zhu took the tiger meat. She was reluctant to eat it herself, so she directly took it to Zhu Sanlu's room. Her youngest son was injured last time and had been lying in bed to recuperate. He couldn't even study. Tiger meat happened to be very nutritious, so it was best to give it to him. "Sanlu, come here and have a look." "What delicious food did mother send you?" Madame Zhu said with a smile. Zhu Sanlu got up from the bed, stretched his nose and sniffed. He asked Madame Zhu, "Mother, what is this?" "Meat? Smells so good. Give it to me." Madame Zhu answered with a smile. She sat in front of Zhu Sanlu's bed, handed him a bowl and said, "Sanlu, this is not ordinary meat." Chapter 552. "You child, what are you talking about? How could it be cat meat or mouse meat? That meat can't be eaten." Mrs. Zhu said, "Mother, we haven't eaten meat for a long time. What good meat can there be?" Zhu Sanlu curled his lips and said, "It's really good meat this time. It's tiger meat. Zhao Yun sent it to your second sister-in-law. Your second sister-in-law sent me another bowl. I couldn't bear to eat it myself, so I came over to give it to you. You're weak, so you should nourish yourself. You'll definitely feel better after eating it." When Zhu Sanlu heard this, he was a little excited. "Tiger meat? That's really good stuff. Let me try it." As he spoke, he picked up a piece of tiger meat from the bowl and stuffed it into his mouth. Bam bam bam, he started to eat. As he ate, he praised, "Mother, it's really delicious. The taste of tiger meat is really different." Mrs. Zhu watched Zhu Sanlu eat eagerly. Seeing him eat with relish, Mrs. Zhu couldn't help but swallow her saliva. Unfortunately, there was only so much tiger meat. If she ate it, Zhu Sanlu wouldn't have anything to eat. Thinking about it, her son was more important. She let Zhu Sanlu eat it. "Mother, how did Zhao Yun'er get the tiger meat? Isn't that too amazing?" Zhu Sanlu casually asked as he ate with relish. "I heard that she hunted a tiger from the top of the mountain." "I see." Zhu Sanlu listened and lowered his head to think for a moment. "Mother, what's wrong?" Mrs. Zhu came over and asked, "Mother, did Shitzi you really hunt a tiger? Didn't you just eat the tiger meat? If you didn't hunt it back, where did you get the tiger meat?" "Mother, I heard from the books that it's good for a man to eat cow's penis and sheep's penis. Tiger's penis is the most powerful." Mrs. Zhu was stunned. "The books also talk about this?" Everything is in the books. Zhu Sanlu was a little guilty. Of course there was no such thing in the books. He knew all this from the pornographic books. At that time he studied it every day and naturally had a certain understanding of these things. But Lu, why are you talking about this? Mrs. Zhu asked curiously. Mother, the doctor said that there's no hope for me down there, unless there's some miracle medicine. I feel that if I can use the tiger penis and eat it, it will definitely be good for that thing down there. Mother, you don't want me to be like this for the rest of my life, do you? I still have to pass on the legacy of our family Zhu. Zhu Sanlu tugged at Mrs. Zhu's sleeve. Mrs. Zhu was silent for a moment. She felt that what Zhu Sanlu said made sense. The tiger penis was a rare and miraculous medicine. If Zhu Sanlu ate it, he might be able to cure the thing below. Sanlu, even if you say so, the tiger penis is a treasure. Will Zhao Yuner give it to us? Mother, do we have anything good in our house? Wouldn't it be fine if he just brought it over to exchange? It's not like I want her for free. Zhu Sanlu said unconcernedly. Mrs. Zhu thought about it. That was true. If they couldn't get it directly, then they could exchange it with something else or buy it with money. In any case, Zhao Yuner couldn't use the tiger penis. Wouldn't it be a waste if they didn't use it? Thus, Mrs. Zhu responded, All right, I'll help you talk to her tomorrow and try to get it back. Yes. Zhu Sanlu nodded heavily and looked forward to it. Chapter 553. Sometimes he would fiddle with it with his hands and then it would droop down softly. It was no longer as valiant and spirited as before. Thinking of this, Zhu Sanlu sighed with a stifled heart. He was still a pure and innocent young man who had never tasted a woman before. If he couldn't do it like this, he would have to suffer for the rest of his life. All right, Lu, don't think about it. Hurry up and eat. Mrs. Zhu called out. Got it, Mother? Zhu Sanlu wolfed down the rest of the tiger meat, one bite at a time. Mother, here's the bowl. You can go out. I'll rest by myself. Okay. Mrs. Zhu took the bowl and left Zhu Sanlu's room. The bowl was clean and there was nothing left. Her Lu, didn't even know to leave a piece for her to try. Sigh. Mrs. Zhu sighed worriedly. She didn't get to taste the tiger meat, but she was also craving it. There was still some soup in the bowl that Zhu Sanlu had eaten. Mrs. Zhu couldn't help but lick the bowl and the soup on the plate was clean. It was really delicious. Needless to say, the taste of the soup was different. Madame Qi just came out and saw Mrs. Zhu licking the bowl. Her greedy look made her angry. Mulan brought her a bowl of tiger meat, and she quietly sent it to Zhu Sanlu's room. She didn't care about the first branch and only cared about her precious youngest son. Now that Zhu Sanlu had finished eating, she was licking the plate. Madame Qi asked unhappily, Mother, how is it? Is the tiger meat delicious? Delicious. Of course it's delicious. Mrs. Zhu replied. Then continue to lick the plate. Heartless old thing. Madame Qi said angrily. Tonight she also wanted to secretly taste the tiger meat. After Zhao Yuna went back, she finished processing the remaining tiger meat, soaked the tiger bones in wine, and took back the tiger skin after drying for half a day. She planned to continue to dry it tomorrow. It should be fine after a few days. Finally, there was the tiger penis left. Zhao Yun'er thought about how to deal with it. Sell it? I don't know if anyone would buy it. I'll consider my own household first. If I don't need it, I'll sell it. Zhao Yun'er thought for a while. Which man in the family needed this more? Mulan didn't need to use the man's appearance. The two of them were already busy enough every night. If Zhu Eru used it, the two of them would probably be busy all night. The next day, Mulan wouldn't be able to get up and go to the breakfast stall with her. Her father didn't seem to have any use for it. Zhao Wenhua's body was not weak. He had done a lot of farm work and had developed a body full of muscles. Therefore, he wasn't bad in that aspect. In the original owner's memory, there was a vague scene of Zhao Tianhua and Liang Jinxiao doing it. After all, they had only lived in one room for so many years. There were times when the children would be woken up. In the original owner's memory, Zhao Wenhua was quite brave. As for Zhao Tianan, he was still young and didn't even have a wife, so he couldn't do it. She didn't know his fourth uncle, so she was embarrassed to ask about this kind of thing. After thinking about it, it seemed that such a good thing could only be given to Mu Lianfeng. Zhao Yun'er pointed at the tiger penis and said, Mu Lianfeng, do you need this thing? If you don't need it, I'll take it to the pharmacy and sell it. In fact, Zhao Yun'er was a little embarrassed to ask this. Mu Lianfeng was stunned. Yun'er, what effect does it have? Chapter 554. What's wrong, Yun'er? Is the effect too special? Zhao Yuner smiled awkwardly and said, Mu Lianfeng, I thought you knew everything. Logically speaking, shouldn't men know a lot about this kind of thing? Mu Lianfeng's lips curled into a smile. How is that possible? Who can be omniscient? Yun, what's the effect of this tiger penis? Tell me, I'll see if I can use it. Zhao Yuner felt even more awkward and cleared her throat. Then, it's aphrodisiac. It's good for men. After saying that, Zhao Yuner quickly looked away, not daring to look at Mu Lianfeng's reaction. It was too damn embarrassing. As a woman, how could she have the nerve to say this to Mu Lianfeng? After Mu Lianfeng heard that, he was obviously stunned. Then, the smile on his lips deepened. Yun. Mu Lianfeng slowly leaned towards Zhao Yun. Zhao Yuner sensed the danger and retreated a bit. What's wrong? Zhao Yuner saw Mu Lianfeng leaning over and asked nervously. Yun, actually, I don't know if I need it or not. I've almost forgotten what we did before. Why don't we try it and then we'll know? Mu Lianfeng's tone was a little teasing. Zhao Yuner's face instantly turned red. It wasn't that she didn't know what this guy meant. He actually said that. It was so embarrassing. Although she had been with Mu Lianfeng for such a long time and their relationship had become much closer, it still hadn't reached that stage. Forget it then. I'll sell it then. Seeing Zhao Yuner's blushing face, Mu Lianfeng couldn't help but want to continue teasing her. Yuner, are you shy? We'll be husband and wife in the future. This kind of thing will happen sooner or later. Mu Lianfeng pushed Zhao Yuner to the corner of the wall and whispered into Zhao Yuner's ear. Then, let's talk about it after we get married. Yuner, but I want you. What should I do? Zhao Yuner felt her heart thumping. God, you wanted to do that thing with her? She really wasn't mentally prepared. You solve it yourself. If you want it, do it yourself. Doubt still sleeps with us. It's not convenient. Yuner replied softly. She Yun's problem, he didn't want her to solve it herself. He used to think that this kind of thing between men and women was disgusting, but after meeting Zhao Yuner, he was looking forward to it. It should be wonderful to be able to do this with the person she liked the most, right? Yuner, can you bear to let me solve it myself? What's there to not bear? Anyway, I won't help you solve it. You should solve your own problems. You can't rely on others. Yuner, aren't you afraid that I won't be able to get it up in the future? I heard that when a man can't hold it in, it will affect him greatly. Mu Lianfeng couldn't help but tease her again. However, Zhao Yuner didn't fall into Mu Lianfeng's trap. Instead, she replied, then I'll keep the tiger's penis for you. If you really can't get it up in the future, we can still use it. Mu Lianfeng's mouth twitched. He didn't know how to respond. He smiled helplessly and said, all right then. We'll keep the tiger's penis for now. It's not like we're short of money. What if we can use it in the future? Chapter 555. Could it be that this guy really couldn't do it? She didn't even know if a man could do it or not. I'll keep it for you, okay. Mu Lianfeng replied with a smile. He looked at Zhao Yuner's flushed face and her body tensed up. She looked very nervous. He was just casually teasing her. Now it seemed that Zhao Yuner was serious and was a little afraid of having sex with him. Mu Lianfeng held Zhao Yuner in his arms and whispered in Zhao Yuner's ear, Yuner, don't be afraid. I won't force you. I'll only touch you if you're willing. Mu Lianfeng's sudden words made Zhao Yuner's heart skip a beat. It wasn't easy for a man to respect a woman like this. Zhao Yuner replied shyly. If she became Mu Lianfeng's wife, she would have to think about what a wife should do. She had to be mentally prepared for the relationship between husband and wife. In another place, in old Zhao's house in the second branch's room. It was late at night and everyone was quietly asleep. Zhao Wenshui thought about Chen Chuanxiu's words today. He had to test it out with his wife. Yingzi, are you asleep? Zhao Wenshui gently patted Li Chuanying and asked Li Chuanying in her ear. Li Chuanying opened her sleepy eyes. What's wrong? Tianyu's father? I haven't loosened the soil for you for a while, right? Zhao Wenshui asked. Li Chuanying suddenly understood something. She looked at Zhao Wenshui grumpily. You know about it too? If you didn't tell me, I would have thought that you didn't remember. My land is almost deserted. That's because there was a lot of farm work. I had to do so many things every day and I was so tired at night. Who would think of loosening the soil for you? Then why did you think of it tonight? I ate meat tonight. He had strength. Why don't we play with each other? The kids are all asleep. Zhao Wenshui coaxed Li Chuanying. Li Chuanying said angrily, no, I won't do it. Alright Ingzi, don't be angry with me. Tonight, I will loosen the soil for you and make you comfortable. Li Chuanying was just joking. Seeing that Zhao Wenshui was being coaxed, he didn't refuse. She really did want it. Alright then. Alright. Zhao Wenshui turned over with a smile and began to take off his clothes. The two of them became entangled. In less than 3 minutes, Zhao Wenshui was gasping for air, unable to move. Tianyu's father, how long has it been? Why aren't you moving? Let's continue. I was just getting excited. Li Chuanying urged. Zhao Wenshui had no choice but to continue moving. This time he couldn't hold on for much longer. I can't, I'm exhausted. Hey, how long has it been? You can't go on anymore. We haven't done it in so long. Why don't you do it a little longer? Li Chuanying seemed to be disappointed. Zhao Wenshui also felt uncomfortable. I want to, but I don't have the strength. In that case he really couldn't do it. He was a little weak in that aspect. Ingzi, have you heard other women say how long their men can last? Zhao Wenshui suddenly asked. They said their men can last for an hour. I don't know. You are my only man. Who knows if what they said is true? Chapter 556. Feeling disappointed, he lay on the bed. It was useless to be angry. He had to find a solution. Ingzi, am I sick? Do I need to be treated? Zhao Wenshui asked. Then buy some aphrodisiac. I'll find a doctor and get some medicine for you. But we don't have money. Ask our mother for money. She won't refuse to pay for it, right? How can I say it? Zhao Wenshui thought. For a man it was a shameful thing. Let me say it. Li Chuanying said, your mother is not someone else. She can't just stand by and watch her son fail in that area. That's good. Zhao Wenshui answered. He thought it would be better if Li Chuanying helped him say it. The next morning, on the way to the breakfast stall, Mulan sighed and said, when I woke up this morning, I saw that the meat in the plate in the cupboard was much less. I don't know if a rat ate it. In ancient times there were many rats. Basically every family had one. Most of the time a family would raise a cat or buy rat poison. Was the food eaten by rats in the past? Zhao Yuner asked. Mulan shook her head. No. There wasn't anything good before. Today's tiger meat is rare. I don't know if it was the smell that attracted the rats. Zhao Yun believed that it was done by humans rather than animals. Mulan, how about this? You take the meat to your room tonight and leave a little bit in the cupboard. You can buy some laxatives and put them in the cupboard. Tomorrow we'll see if anyone has diarrhea and can't get out of bed. If they do, then it's him. If not, it's probably a rat. Mulan understood what Zhao Yuner meant. She suspected that her tiger meat was stolen by the family Zhu. Okay, Yin, I'll do as you say. If it was really done by a human, then even if he ate it, he would have to poop it out. If he couldn't get out of bed, then let's see if he could still eat it secretly. If it was done by rats, I'll raise a cat at home. It can catch rats in the future. Mulan said. Zhao Yun smiled and glanced at Mulan. She didn't know if it was because of her, but Mulan's temper was getting stronger. However, this was for the best. If he wasn't strong, wouldn't he be bullied for nothing? Alright, I'll do that later. Yeah. When they arrived at Yang City, they continued to set up the breakfast stall. Now that spring was getting deeper, the sun was rising earlier. Not long after they were busy, customers came to buy food. The aroma of breakfast filled the entire street. At 6 o'clock there were still not many people. The man in black came again. When Zhao Yuner saw him, she smiled and said, Are you hungry? Come and eat. The man in black was stunned. In the end he found a table and sat down. What do you want to eat today? Zhao Yuner asked. Just serve me anything. Your food is delicious. All right then. Zhao Yuner knew that he had a big appetite, so she immediately served him a lot of food. A large bowl of beef noodles with a lot of beef was served. Then she served him some steamed buns, fried dumplings and shumai. I can pay you today. Also, I can pay you back the money I owed you a few days ago, the man in black said. Zhao Yuner was stunned. She didn't expect the man in black to mention paying her back. You have money? Yeah. The man in black nodded in response. Chapter 557. After all, this black-clothed man was so sloppy that he looked like a beggar. The main thing was that she had no money, so she had no choice. She had to spend money to buy clothes and stay in the inn. She was not in a hurry to take the money from the man in black. The man in black looked at Zhao Yuner with a complicated look in his eyes. The corners of his mouth lifted slightly and he said, I'll do as you say, but I still have to pay you the money today. Don't worry about me, I have enough money. Oh, well, then I won't be polite with you. Well, I'll get to work first. The man in black responded. Zhao Yun'er did not know how this man suddenly got the money, but she insisted on giving it to him. She could not refuse, otherwise, it would look like she was giving alms to him. Mulan heard the conversation between Zhao Yun'er and the man in black. She could not help laughing and said, I didn't expect that he really didn't go back on his word. Well, in fact, looking at him, I know that he won't go back on his word. The first time she saw this man, she felt that he was different from others. She had an inexplicable sense of trust. Now it seemed that her judgment was not wrong. The man in black seemed to have not eaten for a long time. He ate heartily. After a while, he swallowed all the food that Zhao Yun'er brought to him. Looking at the man in black's appetite, Zhao Yun'er could not help but sigh. It would be difficult for this guy to feed himself. The number of people gradually increased. After the man in black finished eating, he paid and left. Zhao Yun'er did not know where he went. This person's appearance was somewhat mysterious. There was another special person in the daytime. It was the nanny who had served old Madame Mu for many years. Nanny Li Zhao Yun'er had met her when she was in Shitzi Mansion, but she did not speak. She only knew that this person often followed old Madame Mu. Because she had served old Madame Mu for many years, she could be regarded as old Madame Mu's favorite. Nanny Li saw that old Madame Mu's appetite was not very good. She often could not eat in the morning. She happened to hear that the food at Zhao Yun'er's breakfast stall was delicious. Only then did she think of buying some for old Madame Mu to let her have a taste. She didn't expect to see Zhao Yun'er when she came over. From the looks of it, the stall was opened by Zhao Yun'er. When Mammy Li saw that Zhao Yun'er was busy greeting people, there was a trace of disgust in her eyes. When Zhao Yun'er saw Mammy Li, she greeted her warmly. Mammy Li, are you here to buy breakfast? What do you want to eat? Zhao Yun'er was just being polite. After all, Mammy Li was Madame Mu's maid, and Madame Mu was Mu Lianfeng's grandmother. In the face of Zhao Yun'er's enthusiasm, Mammy Li was indifferent. I want this, and this. Mammy Li pointed at shumai, fried dough sticks and soup dumplings. Zhao Yun'er sighed in her heart and didn't continue to be enthusiastic. She didn't need to respect Mammy Li, who looked down on her. Okay, I'll wrap it up for you. 50 copper coins. Here you are. Mammy Li handed over the money. Before leaving, she couldn't help but sneer. You're a girl, but you come out to show your face. You really don't know shame. Why did Shitzi Mansion take a woman like you back? After Mammy Li's words, Zhao Yun'er frowned and was very unhappy. She was polite to her out of politeness. She didn't want to please her because of Mammy Li's identity. Chapter 558. Zhao Yun'er was not a pushover. She was not a pushover. She didn't want others to look down on her. Even Mammy Li was like this, not to mention old Madame Mu. How could she marry into Shitzi's mansion in the future? Mammy Li, I earn money to support myself, my children, and my family. I don't steal or rob. I do business in a decent way. How is that shameless? Zhao Yun'er asked coldly. Mammy Li snorted after hearing Zhao Yun'er's words. A decent girl won't show her face in public. A lowly person is a lowly person. Then why do you eat the food cooked by a lowly person? Zhao Yun'er said angrily. Mammy Li was a total weirdo. What kind of logic was that? She was not a lady from a respectable family. How could she be criticized when she came out to earn money? She felt angry just thinking about it. It's different. Mammy Li muttered. How is it different? Different people do different things. Everyone's life is different. I'm just a little woman in the countryside. I come out to sell some food and earn some money. I don't steal or rob. I do business in a decent way. I don't feel ashamed to exchange my own labor for income. If Mammy Li wants to humiliate me, you don't have to say this. You can pick other things. I don't agree with this. Mammy Li didn't expect that Zhao Yun'er dared to talk to her like this. She was directly angered by Zhao Yun'er and left. Zhao Yun'er guessed that Mammy Li would speak ill of her in front of old Madame Mu when she went back. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. She felt helpless. Why did she feel that it was more and more difficult for her to be with Mu Lianfeng? Seeing Zhao Yun'er a little depressed, Mulan and Liang Jinxiao both asked, Yun'er, who is that person? Nothing. She's just a servant in Shitzi's mansion. Zhao Yun'er answered casually. How could she say that about you? That's too much. Mulan was a little indignant. No matter what others say, we just have to be ourselves and have a clear conscience. After all, everyone's life is different. Who wouldn't want to live a comfortable life? Zhao Yun'er didn't care about what Mammy Li said. There were too many weird people. If she cared about each of them she would be furious. Yes, you're right. Let's work harder now and make those who look down on us regret it in the future. Let's get back to work. When the stall was closed, the black-clothed man appeared again, but with a new appearance. Zhao Yun almost didn't recognize him if she didn't see his different aura. He had changed into a new set of black clothes which should have been newly bought. It was neat and tidy. Her hair was also combed and tied up high. He washed his face clean and shaved his beard. He still carried a long sword on his body, and his handsome appearance revealed a hint of coldness. He was really a handsome man. His appearance was not much different from Mu Lianfeng's, but their temperaments were completely different. Mu Lianfeng's handsomeness revealed a sense of nobility, while this black-clothed man was cold and unapproachable. It was like a face as cold as frost. If this kind of man was brought to the 21st century, he would be pursued by countless little girls. Zhao Yun couldn't help sighing. Clothes made the man. It was not only applicable to women, but also applied to men. After tidying up again, the originally sloppy person had now become a peerlessly handsome man. Chapter 559. The man in black seemed to know what Zhao Yun was asking and responded. Haha, you look much better now. It's better to dress up like this. With your appearance you'll probably attract a lot of girls' attention. In the future you'll definitely not starve to death with this face. Zhao Yun couldn't help but joke. She was used to speaking without thinking, especially when she was excited. After saying this, the man in black was clearly stunned. Then, his eyes darkened as he looked at Zhao Yun and said lightly to Zhao Yun, I don't rely on women to make a living. But I didn't mean that. Don't misunderstand. I'm just praising you for your good looks. Zhao Yun smiled embarrassedly. The man in black responded. He had been praised too many times for his appearance. So many times he would wear a hat to prevent others from seeing his true appearance. Otherwise, those women would stare at him, making him feel uncomfortable. Why are you here? Zhao Yun asked. The man in black shook his head. It's nothing. I just want to show you my new appearance so that you don't have to worry about me. Also, from tomorrow onwards I'll eat breakfast here every day. Zhao Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry at this man's teasing. How interesting. Zhao Yun smiled and said, Then I've seen it. You're very good looking, so I'm not worried about you now. But I'm a little curious. Where did you get this money from? You got so much all of a sudden. Why don't you tell me about it and let me try this method of earning money? Zhao Yun continued to joke. She just felt that this man was too interesting. After the man in black heard this, he was silent for a moment. Then he said, You can't do this. What? I'm going to help someone take care of someone. You're a girl, how can you fight? I see. The smile on Zhao Yun's lips is even wider. His kung fu is finally useful. Fighting was also a skill, so the employer naturally paid him a high price. It was no wonder that the man in black was so rich now. I'm leaving first. When the black-clothed man saw the smile on the corner of Zhao Yun's mouth, his heart trembled and he hurriedly turned to leave. He was afraid that his strange mood swings would be caught by others. That I still don't know your name. Can you tell me? After all, if he kept coming over for breakfast in the future, it was inevitable that he would greet her. She couldn't just call out, Hey, hey, hey. The man in black was stunned. Just call me Yi Li. Zhao Yun silently recited his name, Yi Li. It sounded quite nice. After the man in black left, Mulan came up to her and said, Yun, he's the one who owed you money, right? Yes. It really looks different. Haha, that's right. It's all good now. He's returned our money and will often come over to take care of our business. Hee, look at his handsome face. He'll probably attract a lot of young ladies. He can even be our shop's signboard to attract business. Mulan said happily. If Mulan hadn't said this, Zhao Yun wouldn't have thought of this. She couldn't help but size up Mulan. She realized that she knew too little about Mulan in the past. She thought that Mulan was an honest woman who didn't have such thoughts. Chapter 560. Sister-in-law Mulan, I realize that I've underestimated you in the past. Mulan was stunned. Yun, what do you mean? Looking at Mulan's adorable look, Zhao Yun smiled and said, Nothing, it's just. Sister-in-law Mulan, you're not the honest and rigid woman I thought you were. Mulan was even more confused by Zhao Yun's words. It's fine, Mulan. You're right. With Yili around, our stall will have a signboard with movable characters. Business will definitely be much better. Aha, of course. His good looks are what young ladies and women like the most. Zhao Yuner couldn't help but tease. Then, sister-in-law Mulan, do you like him? I used to like him too. Who doesn't like him? I married Erhu because he was tall and handsome. Mulan said as she started to recall the past. I couldn't tell that sister-in-law Mulan used to be a love-struck fool. Zhao Yuner teased. Mulan felt a little embarrassed after being teased by Zhao Yuner. Isn't this normal? Which girl doesn't like beautiful men? Yes, you're right. Hey Yuner, don't tease me. Mulan panicked when she saw the smile on Zhao Yuner's face. Alright, I won't tease you anymore. Let's buy some things and go back. Yes. The few of them went to the market and bought the things they needed. Mulan directly bought a large dose of laxatives this time. If someone stole the tiger meat, she would let him have a good poop. Liang Jinxiao bought some eggs back. The eggs weren't cheap and cost 2 copper coins each. Usually the eggs at home would be saved up and sold or exchanged for some oil, salt and vinegar necessities. Liang Jinxiao felt his heart ache when he bought 20 eggs at once and spent 40 copper coins. Yuner, now that we've separated from the family, I want to raise some chickens and ducks. It's not worth it to spend so much money to buy a few at a time, Liang Jinxiao said to Zhao Yuner. These eggs cost 2 copper coins each. Because food was too expensive in ancient times, the cost of raising chickens was relatively higher. When raising chickens at home, in addition to feeding them grain, they could also feed them vegetable leaves or chicken grass. It was spring now and there was a lot of grass that the chickens could eat. If he raised chickens at home, not only could he eat chicken but he could also collect eggs. It was much more cost-effective than buying eggs outside. Before they separated from the family, old Zhao's family raised dozens of chickens, all of which were taken care of by Liang Jinxiao. He was more experienced in raising chickens. Zhao Yuner naturally had no reason to object. She thought it was good to raise some chickens and ducks. Especially duck eggs, she could save them in the future and eat pickled duck eggs. They tasted very good. In her memory there were no salted duck eggs in this era. If she could make them, it would be a rare thing. Mother, if you want to raise them, just raise them. It's just a little troublesome, Zhao Yuner said. It's okay. It's not troublesome. I'll raise less. First I'll raise 4 or 5 old hens. Then they can lay eggs and hatch chicks. In a few months the chicks will grow up. At that time they can cook roosters for you. Okay, mother, you can catch a few back. Chapter 561. Liang Jinxiao's words made sense. Chickens had to have a chicken shed and pigs had to have a pig shed. She couldn't possibly live with other people. Alright then. When your chicken shed is set up, we'll come over and buy a few more chickens. Okay. Speaking of raising chickens, Mulan felt that it would be good for her to raise a few as well. The children at home were still growing. It would be best to raise chickens and get some eggs for the children to eat. Auntie Yun, I want to raise a few chickens too. Sure. Actually, it's not difficult to take care of them. You can ask me if you have any questions later. Liang Jinxiao said with a smile. Okay. After returning to the village, they didn't rest for long before they saw someone coming over. The person who came was none other than old Madame Zhu. As the saying goes, one never visits a temple without a cause. Mrs. Zhu had nothing to do with her, so she wouldn't come to her house for no reason. Seeing Mrs. Zhu coming over, Zhao Yuner said with a smile, Auntie, may I know why you've come to my house? The smile on Mrs. Zhu's face was a little awkward. Yun, I'm here to give you something. Give me something? When Zhao Yuner heard this, she was even more puzzled. When did Mrs. Zhu become so kind as to give her something? As Mrs. Zhu spoke, she handed over the basket in her hand and said to Zhao Yuner, look. There are 10 eggs and an old hen. Take it and stew it into soup. It was really good stuff. In the countryside, a chicken wasn't something that could be casually given away. Even her family couldn't bear to eat more than a few in a year. Old Madame Zhu suddenly made a big move. Since she was so generous, it must be for something important. Auntie Family Zhu, if there's anything you want to say, just say it. I'll only accept your gift if I think it's okay. If I can't do it, then you can take your gift back. Mrs. Zhu smiled embarrassedly. Yuner, I'm sure you can do it. Yesterday, I heard that Shitzi brought back a tiger, so I came to ask if you could give me the tiger's penis. Zhao Yuner narrowed her eyes for a moment. So it turned out that they were after her tiger penis. Without even thinking, Zhao Yuner knew why Mrs. Zhu used the tiger whip. That thing of Zhu Sanlu's was crippled, and it would not be easy to cure it. This was the only way. Otherwise, what else could save Zhu Sanlu's crotch? Zhao Yuner wouldn't give anything else to Mrs. Zhu. After knowing that it was the tiger's penis used to save Zhu Sanlu, Zhao Yuner wouldn't give it to her. If that damn pervert was really cured, wouldn't he continue to harm people? Zhao Yuner snorted and said to Mrs. Zhu, "Family Zhu's body, are you joking? A hen and 10 eggs in exchange for my tiger's penis? Do you think I'm stupid? Then I'll catch a few more hens for you later? Yuner, you have a good relationship with Mulan, so help me. Just give me the tiger's penis. At worst, I'll pay you money, right? Then, anti-family Zhu, how much money are you planning to give me?" Zhao Yuner asked. "I only have 3 taels of silver. How about I give it all to you and you give me the tiger's penis?" Mrs. Zhu gritted her teeth and took out the money she had secretly saved. When they separated from the family, she didn't say anything about this money. Otherwise, she wouldn't have a sense of security if she didn't have some money in her hands. If she needed it urgently, she wouldn't be able to take it out. Chapter 562. After all, 3 taels of silver was enough for an average family to use for a year. Originally, she was reluctant to take out the money, but when she thought of her precious youngest son, she felt that no matter what, she had to get the tiger's penis and cure her youngest son. Zhao Yuner laughed sarcastically. "Auntie, I think you're joking with me. You want to buy the tiger's penis for 3 taels of silver?" Mrs. Zhu was stunned. 3 taels of silver isn't enough? How much money would that cost? "Auntie, I'm not trying to scare you, but if you sell this tiger's penis in a pharmacy, it would cost at least a few hundred taels of silver. There are many rich people who want to buy it. If I don't sell it for a few taels of silver, why would I sell it to you for 3 taels of silver?" When Zhao Yuner said this, Mrs. Zhu was immediately discouraged. She knew that the tiger's penis was so valuable. Zhao Yuner wasn't a fool and definitely wouldn't sell it to her. A few taels of silver, even if they saved up for a lifetime, an average family wouldn't be able to save up that much money. How could she take it out? "Auntie, you should go back." Zhao Yuner began to chase her away. Mrs. Zhu pursed her lips and sighed, "I know." Looking at Mrs. Zhu's lonely back, Zhao Yuner couldn't help but want to curse. This old woman's brain must be sick. Zhu Sanlu was already like this and she still wanted to spend money to save him. That damn pervert, it would be better if he was crippled for life. If he was crippled, he wouldn't be able to do perverted things. Mrs. Zhu returned to the family Zhu and entered Zhu Sanlu's room. She told him about the situation at Zhao Yuner's house. When he heard that he didn't get the tiger's penis, Zhu Sanlu became angry at Mrs. Zhu. "Mother, you just want to see me like this for the rest of my life, right? How could Mother want to see you like this for the rest of your life? Mother loves you the most, don't you know that? Then why aren't you helping me get the tiger's penis back? Isn't the tiger's penis too expensive? That's a few dozen taels of silver. Even if I sell everything I have, I still won't be able to gather that much money." Mrs. Zhu sighed helplessly. Who asked them not to be from a wealthy family? If their family had dozens of mu of land, they could sell 7 or 8 mu of land or 10 mu of land to make up for it. Zhu Sanlu angrily smashed the things in the room. "Big brother and second brother are married, but they can still do that every night. I'm the only one who can't do that for the rest of my life. What's the point of living? You might as well die." Zhu Sanlu pretended to bang his head against the wall, but Mrs. Zhu quickly stopped him. Then she began to cry and yell, "My son, don't take things too hard and die. Let Mother think of another way. You'll definitely be cured. If you die now, won't there be no way in the future? Son, your father will definitely bless you. You'll get better in the future. It's not even certain that there's no cure yet. Why are you committing suicide?" The commotion in Zhu Sanlu's room was heard by the people outside. The people from the eldest branch and the second branch all entered Zhu Sanlu's room. Zhu Dainiu asked, "Mother, what are you and third brother doing?" Seeing that Zhu Eru had also followed them in, she cried and yelled, "Your third brother is committing suicide. He doesn't want to live anymore. It's all because of that damned Eru. He crushed Luer's thing. If anything happens to Luer, I don't want to live anymore." Mrs. Zhu cried and cried at the top of her lungs. Her eardrums were shaking because of her. Chapter 563. Zhu Dainiu knew very well that if the family wanted to live a good life, they had to have a scholar pass the imperial examinations. Otherwise, they would have to farm for the rest of their lives. Since he had invested so much money in Zhu Sanlu, he had to continue to let him pass the imperial examinations. Otherwise, wouldn't the money spent over the years be wasted? Third brother, our mother can't stand the torment. You can't let her die before her son. Zhu Sanlu continued to make a fuss. Big brother, I don't want to, but I'm not living like a man anymore. How can I have the face to go out? You can't say that. Third brother, you can't do it down there. Others don't know. They won't take off your pants to see, right? So it's okay. Don't think so much. Big brother, isn't this lying through your teeth? Zhu Eru, who was at the side, frowned and said to Zhu Daniu, Big brother, don't try to persuade him. Just let him hit the wall. I don't believe that he's willing to die. He's just making a ruckus. As soon as Zhu Eru finished speaking, Mrs. Zhu's resentful eyes fell on Zhu Eru. What did you say? How did I give birth to such a cruel thing like you? Not only did you make your brother like this, but now you're telling him to die. Are you still human? Mrs. Zhu scolded him, but it wasn't enough to vent her anger. When she thought of her youngest son, her heart ached. She couldn't help but scratch Zhu Eru's face. Zhu Eru didn't stupidly let Mrs. Zhu scratch him. Instead he took a step back. Old Madame Zhu's claw missed. Bah, Mrs. Zhu was not reconciled. She directly spat on Zhu Eru's face. The saliva had a foul smell. Zhu Eru felt disgusted and wiped the saliva on his face with his sleeve. Mother, you're blaming me now. What did he do? Doesn't he know it himself? Why would I do that to him for no reason? Mother, you're biased, but you can't be so biased. I'm also your son. At this moment, Zhu Eru didn't feel much anger in his heart. Instead he felt sad and disappointed. They were both sons, but Mrs. Zhu's attitude was so different. In what way was he inferior to his third brother? Mrs. Zhu replied angrily, You still know that you're my son? Did you think it was easy for me to give birth to you? If you still have me as your mother in your heart and don't want me to die, then save your third brother first. Let Mulan ask Zhao Yuner for the tiger's penis. This way Sanlu can be cured. Zhu Eru's eyes sharpened and he sneered, Mother, you're still thinking about this. If third brother's lower part is really cured, who knows what he will do? This bastard was a little morbid when it came to the matters between men and women. Therefore Zhu Eru felt that no matter what, Zhu Sanlu's lower body could not be treated. Zhu Sanlu laughed bitterly and said to Zhu Eru, Second brother, please ask second sister-in-law for help. Ask Zhao Yuner for the tiger's penis. I promise I won't do anything bad in the future. You think I'd believe you? Second brother, I'm your biological brother. Why don't you believe me? I swear, right? If I can't do it, I won't be able to marry a wife for the rest of my life. When I die, no one will collect my corpse. Zhu Sanlu raised his hand and vowed. Chapter 564. Mrs. Zhu said and started to hit the wall. Zhu Daniu hurriedly stopped her and said to Mrs. Zhu, Mother, why are you taking things too hard? Second brother didn't say he didn't agree. Zhu Daniu said to Zhu Eru, Eru, don't just stand there. Just agree. Third brother is our third brother. We can't watch him not do it for the rest of his life. Don't you think so? Zhu Eru snorted, I can't agree to this. If mother really commits suicide because of this, I can't do anything about it. Second brother, why are you so cruel? This is our mother. Zhu Daniu sighed. Zhu Eru felt that his big brother was deliberately stirring up trouble. He said this because it had nothing to do with him. He just wanted to join in the fun. I've raised him for nothing. Heartless thing. Mrs. Zhu sat on the ground and cried. It was annoying to hear. Mulan saw that her man was in a difficult position and couldn't help but say, Mother, don't scold Eru. This matter can't be settled just because he agreed. The tiger penis is such a precious thing. Even if I have a good relationship with Yun, she won't give it to me. Even blood brothers settle accounts clearly, let alone outsiders. So don't make things difficult for me. I really can't help you. If it was before, Mulan definitely wouldn't dare to say these words. But now, Mulan decided to stand up bravely to protect her man and child. Big brother Mother Lan is right. The tiger penis is a good thing. How can you just ask someone to give it to you? Even if you want to make things difficult, you can't do this. After listening to Mulan's brother Zhu Eru's words, Zhu Sanlu was a little desperate. Mrs. Zhu was still crying and shouting. Zhu Daniu frowned. He wanted to find fault, but he couldn't. They were neither relatives nor friends. They wouldn't give good things to others. Mulan couldn't get it even if she asked. Then there's no other way. It's just that third brother is so pitiful. Zhu Daniu sighed. Wah! Old Madame Zhu cried even more sadly. When Zhu Sanlu saw that no one was pulling him, he obediently got up. He couldn't really kill himself. Mother, I'm not dead yet. Don't cry like you're at a funeral. How unlucky. Zhu Sanlu complained to Mrs. Zhu. Mrs. Zhu blinked, wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and asked, Lu are you really not going to commit suicide? No, for mother, I can't commit suicide. After hearing what Zhu Sanlu said, Mrs. Zhu finally breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, that's good. Then mother won't cry. Mrs. Zhu said as she nimbly got up from the ground. Zhu Eru sighed. He was too lazy to care about his mother anymore. She only knew how to make trouble. She didn't give him any peace of mind. He had to harden his heart and ignore Mrs. Zhu. No matter how she tried to commit suicide, it was none of his business. Mulan also followed Zhu Eru out of Zhu Sanlu's room. She knew better than anyone else how helpless her man was, but she couldn't say anything. Mulan continued to go into the room to cook. When she reached the kitchen, she found that the tiger meat on the plate was a little less. Although it wasn't much, it could still be seen. Mulan's brows furrowed. Her first reaction was that someone had secretly eaten it. In broad daylight, rats weren't stupid enough to wander out. Only someone would secretly eat it. She had only been in Zhu Sanlu's room for a while. Just now, other than the children, only her sister-in-law didn't enter the room. Could it be that she beat her sister-in-law and secretly ate it? Chapter 565. Huanhua had been sitting in the yard. She didn't dare to go in and see what was going on in Zhu Sanlu's room. Now Huanhua was afraid of Zhu Sanlu. What happened before had left a psychological shadow on her. Basically, Huanhua would hide far away when she saw Zhu Sanlu. Mother, only Aunt went in just now. I didn't see anyone else go in. Huanhua said. Mulan was silent for a while. That was undoubtedly her sister-in-law. But she couldn't question her sister-in-law. Even if she did, her sister-in-law probably wouldn't admit it. Forget it. She'd better add laxatives and let her poop properly. Let's see if she can still steal. In the future, she had to put the things in the house away and add a lock to the house. Of course, the most important thing was to build a house as soon as possible and move out. In this way, no one would have a chance to steal. There was no one in the house. Zhao Yuner guessed that Mu Lianfeng had taken Daodu to the mountain again. Now that the mining had not officially started, some necessary equipment was being transported over. The mine on the mountain was still under investigation. After the details were confirmed, Mu Lianfeng had to make arrangements. Although most of the things were left to Mo Yen, some things still had to go through him. Zhao Yuner felt that the mining of the mine would take at least a year and a half. This was good. Mu Lianfeng could accompany her well. Zhao Yuner was already prepared for the matter of Nanny Li. It would be very difficult for the Shitsi's manor to accept her. Instead of thinking about this, it was better to live a happy life with Mu Lianfeng. During this period of time, the two of them were happy. Zhao Yuner went into the kitchen to cook. When it was time to eat, Mu Lianfeng and Daodu would know to come back to eat. There was still a lot of tiger meat left from yesterday. Zhao Yuner used it to braise. When she went up the mountain, she also picked some mushrooms. These were fresh and delicious. Zhao Yuner put some meat and more oil in them. When they were out of the pot, the fragrance filled the whole room. In addition, he chopped a handful of small vegetables in the vegetable garden and made a cabbage and tofu soup with tofu. He also stir-fried green pepper and eggs. There were 3 dishes and a soup. Although they were not delicacies, they were quite tasty. Mu Lianfeng and Daodu came down from the mountain as if they were better guarded. This time there were 2 more people who returned. One was Mo Yen while the other was Helianqin. Zhao Yuner did not expect that Helianqin would actually come. He was probably here to look for Mu Lianfeng. The two of them had the best relationship and had not seen each other for a while. As soon as Helianqin smelled the fragrance in Zhao Yuner's kitchen, he immediately ran over with a greedy look. He smiled shamelessly and asked, Miss Yuner, have you finished cooking? Can we eat now? When it came to eating, Mo Yen, who was behind Mu Lianfeng, was also rather excited. The food they ate on the mountain these days was much worse than the food in the manor. As Mu Lianfeng's guard, his status was not low. He had never eaten bad food and had never eaten the dishes of the countryside. When he came over this time, he found that the dishes of the countryside only had some oil and salt. There was nothing else, so it was tasteless. When he came over to Zhao Yuner's place, he found that the food in Zhao Yuner's house was actually so fragrant. It had been a while since he had eaten good food, so Mo Yan's appetite was aroused. As a result, just like Helianqin, he looked at Zhao Yuner eagerly, hoping that Zhao Yuner would nod and call the two of them to eat. Chapter 566. What's wrong? Miss Yuner? Helianqin asked hurriedly. Well, I didn't know you were coming too, so I only prepared food for 3 people when I prepared lunch. Her meaning was obvious. She didn't prepare food for Mo Yen and Helian Chin. Mu Lianfeng smiled faintly and said, Yuner, let's eat. Don't worry about them. Zhao Yuner was stunned. Did he really not care about Helian Chin and Mo Yen? Helian Chin was a guest after all. As for Mo Yen, she had never eaten here before. Wouldn't it be bad if he didn't let them eat this time? Zhao Yuner looked at Mu Lianfeng. He seemed to be telling the truth. This man's skin was really thick. Helian Chin jumped up anxiously. Oh, how can I do this? Afeng, I'm here for you. I'm starving now, but you won't even let me eat. Don't you feel bad? Why would I feel bad? If you rush back to Yang City now, you'll be able to eat very soon. You don't have to stay here for a meal, right? Mu Lianfeng raised his eyebrows and said, You. Helian Chin glared at Mu Lianfeng angrily and shouted at Mu Lianfeng, Seriously, you've become more and more petty. It's just a meal. How can you treat me like this? If I knew you were so heartless, I wouldn't have come. Mo Yen looked at her master pitifully. He also had complaints in his heart, but he didn't dare to say it out loud, unlike Helian Chin. If he wasn't killed by his master, he also wanted to say something. Zhao Yuner's mouth twitched. She said to the few of them, Why don't the 3 of you eat first? I'll make a few more dishes. Miss Yuner, is this really okay? Helian Chin asked excitedly. Zhao Yuner couldn't help but complain in her heart. Could it not be okay? With Helian Chen's behavior, if he didn't eat today, he would probably stay and not leave. He would even scold Mu Lianfeng. At the same time, she felt that since they had come all the way here, it wouldn't be nice if she didn't keep them for a meal. It wouldn't be too troublesome to cook a few more dishes. Sure, come in and have a seat. I'll bring you the dishes. Zhao Yuner greeted. Mu Lianfeng looked at Zhao Yuner with heartache and did not continue to say anything. He did not let He Lianchen and Mo Yen stay to eat because he was afraid that Zhao Yuner would be too annoyed with cooking. Ah, Miss Yuner is the best. Helian Chin waved his fan and happily entered Zhao Yuner's room. Zhao Yuner served a few dishes. Helian Chin and Mo Yen began to eat eagerly. They picked up their chopsticks and reached out for the food. But before it could reach him, it was slapped away by Mu Lianfeng. What's the rush? I haven't eaten yet. Helian Chin and Mo Yen felt rather wronged. Seriously, with Mu Lianfeng's dawdling manner, the food would be cold by the time he ate. Then hurry up and eat. Helian Chin urged. Okay. Mu Lianfeng responded. Then he picked up his chopsticks and used a cloth to wipe the water off the surface of the mountain before eating. Helian Chin could not help but roll his eyes. He was so particular about eating. Who knew when he would dawdle? Only after Mu Lianfeng put down his chopsticks did Helian Chin dare to eat as well. As expected, Miss Yuner's cooking is good. Even if it's a simple home-cooked dish, it has a different flavor. It's even better than the dishes in restaurants. Helian Chin sighed emotionally as he ate. Chapter 567. Helian Chin wolfed down the food while Mu Lianfeng chewed and swallowed slowly. Mu Lianfeng's cold gaze landed on Helian Chin. Even eating can't shut your mouth? Mo Yen, who originally wanted to follow Helian Chin and praise Zhao Yuner's culinary skills, directly shut her mouth at this moment. Master is really fierce. Then I'd better continue eating and not ask for a rebuff like Helian Chin. After Helian Chin was scolded by Mu Lianfeng, he continued to eat silently. What meat is this? Why does it taste so special? Mu Lianfeng asked. This? Mu Lianfeng looked at the tiger meat on the table. He replied indifferently, Rat meat. With that, the 2 men who were eating meat on the table were instantly petrified. Then they could not help but vomit, feeling extremely disgusted. Ugh. However, Mu Lianfeng very calmly picked up a piece of tiger meat and ate it. Ah, Feng, you're eating rat meat? Are you a pervert? Helian Chin cried out. It's just a joke. Why are you guys reacting so strongly? Can rat meat be so delicious? Mu Lianfeng said very calmly. Chapter 568. Daodu, what's wrong? Zhao Yuner lowered her voice and asked. Mother? Daodu moved in front of Zhao Yuner and whispered into Zhao Yuner's ear, Mother, Little Black's mother is here. She's with Little Black now. Keep your voice down so that you won't scare her away. Zhao Yuner was curious after Daodu finished speaking. Little Black's mother is here? Zhao Yuner looked into the kennel and found that inside the kennel, Big White was lying in front of Little Black, while Little Black was in Big White's arms, drinking milk in Big White's arms. After Little Black was injured, he couldn't eat anything. Zhao Yun could only get him some goat's milk to drink. With Big White here, Little Black also had breast milk to drink. Zhao Yun felt that it was a little strange. She remembered that Big White used to dislike Little Black very much. Could it be that he felt sorry for Little Black now that he was injured? Maybe he was his own child after all. When Big White was feeding, he even licked Little Black's body. He looked at Little Black with motherly love in his eyes. Zhao Yun smiled when she saw this. She said to Daodu, "Mother, keep your voice down. Don't startle him." Okay. Come eat the noodles." Zhao Yun passed the noodles over. Daodu held the bowl and started eating. Maybe it was because he didn't eat noodles often. Although the ingredients were simple, it was still delicious. Zhao Yun wasn't very hungry, so she just ate a little. After she finished eating, she went into the house to see if the three men had finished eating. When she entered the house, she found that the few dishes that she had cooked later had been swept clean. Only a layer of soup was left on the plate. Zhao Yun couldn't help but sigh. Their appetites really weren't simple. The portions of every dish were huge. It was enough for 5 or 6 people. However, after eating so much, Helian Chen and Mo Yen still looked like they hadn't had enough. "Are you guys full? Do you want me to cook a few more dishes for you?" Zhao Yun asked. Since he had already entertained them, he definitely had to entertain them well. He couldn't possibly let them go hungry. Helian Chen was a little agitated and was about to say that he was not full. However, Mu Lianfeng's cold gaze drifted over, and he was so scared that he quickly shut his mouth. "I'm full. Miss Yuner, your cooking is really delicious." The corners of Helian Chen's mouth had a hint of bitterness and grievance. Zhao Yuner understood. Helian Chen wanted to continue eating, but Mu Lianfeng wouldn't let him. She guessed that Mu Lianfeng was afraid that she would have to work too hard to cook. "It's good that you're full. If you like, you can come back next time." Helian Chen agreed without hesitation. "Sure. You still want to eat here? There's nothing to eat at home?" Mu Lianfeng was a little displeased. "It's not the same. It's better to eat here." "Afeng, you're really lucky to be able to eat Miss Yuner's cooking every day. If only I could eat it every day." Mu Lianfeng snorted softly. "Do you really think that everyone has such a life? Let me tell you, there's no point in being envious. Afeng, you're so annoying. When I get married, I'll send her to Miss Yuner's place so that she can learn from her. Then we'll talk about it when you have a wife. However, I don't think you'll be able to get a wife in 3 to 5 years." As Mu Lianfeng spoke, he began to stand up and clear the table. Zhao Yuner had already worked hard enough cooking. Mu Lianfeng didn't want her to tire herself out. Chapter 569. As you wish. Mu Lianfeng could not help but reply indifferently. Helian Chen felt like he was about to explode from anger because of Mu Lianfeng. I'm leaving now. I shouldn't have come." Yes. Let's go." Mu Lianfeng nodded. His tone even contained some impatience. Helian Chen felt like his heart had shattered. He angrily flung his sleeves and left Zhao Yuner's house. Mo Yen looked at Helian Chen sympathetically. She thought that Helian Chen was really pitiful. His master? Yes, had indeed become a little too much. Seeing Helian Chen leave, Zhao Yuner smiled at Mu Lianfeng and said, "Actually, it's fine to let him come over for a few more meals. After all, he's your friend." Mu Lianfeng shook his head. "That won't do. If he comes over for a meal, he'll tire you out. You're already working very hard. Why should you serve him? Don't you think so?" Haha, so he felt sorry for her. Mu Lianfeng let Zhao Yun rest while he carried the plates into the kitchen and began to wash them. Mo Yen was a little dumbfounded as he watched his master busy himself. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, how would he have known that Mu Lianfeng would do these women's chores? This Yun seemed rather extraordinary. She was actually able to train his master well. Mu Lianfeng seemed to sense Mo Yan's gaze as well. He turned around and glared at him. "What are you looking at?" Mo Yen hurriedly said, "Nothing. Master, I'm going up the mountain." Mo Yen knew that he could not be a third wheel. Otherwise, his master would have plenty of ways to torment him. "Yes." Mu Lianfeng replied with satisfaction. In the afternoon, Zhao Yun went to old Zhao's house. Liang Jinxiao said that Zhao Qianan's leg was injured from a fall. She came to see if her younger brother's injury was serious. The mining work was off today. Zhao Yunlong was also at home, building a chicken shed behind the courtyard. The chicken shed didn't need to be too big as long as it could shelter the chickens from the wind and rain. Using 4 sticks, he set up 4 stakes and then tied them together with some slightly thicker branches. After the framework was set up, a layer of straw was placed on top of it. The most important thing was the fence. Only with a fence around it could the chickens not run out. Free chickens leave chicken poop everywhere they go. When Zhao Yuner came over, Zhao Wenhua had almost finished setting up the chicken shed. Looking at this cheap father of his, it was really not bad for him to do these things. In the entire old Zhao family, Zhao Wenhua was probably the best at these things. Mother, then you can buy a chicken tomorrow. Liang Jinxiao smiled and said, yes, tomorrow will be enough. In the future our family will have eggs to eat. We won't need to buy any more. We can save a lot of money. Currently, Zhao Yuner's family didn't lack money. However, Liang Jinxiao was used to being frugal, so he felt that every bit of money he could save was a bit. When Zhao Ping'er got married, it would be another expense. In addition, in the future, buying land, Zhao Tianfu's studies, and Zhao Tianan's not young anymore. He could prepare for his marriage. All of these things required real money. Yes, yes. Zhao Yuner nodded. Liang Jinxiao's words were heard by the old Zhao family. Li Chuanying just happened to be shoveling chicken poop. He complained, third sister-in-law, you still have the energy to raise chickens? Why don't you take care of them for me? Chapter 570. Old Zhao's family raised more than 20 chickens, and these chickens had to eat a lot every day. The problem was that Hua Chunhua wanted to raise these chickens, but she also didn't want too much food at home. She also wanted the hens to lay eggs. This way, Li Chuanying had to carry a basket and go to the fields to get some chicken grass back. Not only that, some parts of the chicken shed were broken and there were several holes in the fence. These chickens that were locked up often came out and the yard was full of chicken poop. Zhao Xinhui was a clean freak, so she would scold her whenever she saw chicken poop. Hua Chunhua loved this daughter very much, so when Zhao Xinhui was unhappy, Hua Chunhua would help Zhao Xinhui scold her as well. Li Chuanying was afraid of Hua Chunhua, so she had to clean up the chicken poop on the ground. Second aunt, you must be joking. My mother raises chickens so that our family can eat eggs. If in the future we can share half of the eggs that old Zhao's family lays, then we can ask my mother to help take care of them. Zhao Yuner curled her lips and sneered. I'm not sure about this. Your grandmother definitely won't be willing to share half of the eggs. Then what else did second aunt say? We've already separated from the family. Don't tell me you still want my mother to work for you for free? Zhao Yuner's tone was a bit harsh and sarcastic. Li Chuanying felt that she was asking for a snub, so she smiled embarrassedly and said, okay, but third sister-in-law, the chicken shed at home is also broken down. If third brother isn't busy, then help clean up the chicken shed. Look at the smell of chicken poop in front of your house, right? If you accidentally step on it, your shoes will be covered in poop. It's quite disgusting. As Li Chuanying spoke, she deliberately pointed at Zhao Yuner. Girl, look, you accidentally stepped on it. Zhao Yuner lowered her head and realized that it really was. Feeling disgusted, he hurriedly stepped on the ground and cleaned the chicken poop on his shoes. The color of the chicken poop was a little close to the soil on the ground, so if one didn't pay attention they wouldn't be able to tell. He didn't know how many times he had stepped on it. Zhao Yuner was speechless. She said to Li Chuanying, second aunt, why did you let my father do it? Can't first uncle and second uncle do it? How can your first uncle and second uncle be as powerful as your father? They wouldn't do such a thing. Can't they learn it? 2 grown men, yet they don't even know how to do such a simple thing. Aren't they ashamed? Fortunately, we've separated from the family. If we hadn't, I don't know if we'd have to rely on my father for everything. Li Chuanying was a little displeased. You child, it's just a casual thing. Your father didn't even say anything, so why are you interrupting? If she didn't fix the chicken shed, she would be the one tired. Every day she had to bend over to cut the chicken grass and clean the chicken poop. It made her back a little uncomfortable. When Zhao Wenhua heard the commotion, she put down the work in her hands and said to Li Chuanying, second sister-in-law, I think Yuner girl is right. We can't rely on me to fix things at home. If eldest brother and second brother don't know how to do it, they can ask me. I'll tell them how to do it. Now that the chicken shed is broken, they can do it themselves. Zhao Wenhua understood that teaching a man to fish was better than giving him a fish. If you don't want to help, then don't help. Why are you talking so much? As Li Chuanying spoke, she turned around angrily and prepared to leave. Chapter 571. Ouch. Li Chuanying cried out in pain. Second sister-in-law, are you okay? Liang Jinxiao wanted to help Li Chueying up. It hurts, it hurts. Li Chueying whined. Second sister-in-law, Liang Jinxiao quickly retracted his hand that was about to help Li Chueying up. Li Chueying's hands were on the ground and accidentally got a lot of chicken poop on them. Although she pitied Li Chueying, she couldn't possibly shake Li Chueying's hand when she saw the chicken poop on it. Second sister-in-law, can you get up on your own? Liang Jinxiao asked with concern. Third sister-in-law, why are you so heartless that you won't help me up? My butt is rotten, I can't get up. Li Chueying continued to whine. Liang Jinxiao looked a little embarrassed. Second sister-in-law, your hands are covered in chicken poop. Why don't you wipe your hands clean and then I'll help you up? What do you think? Li Chueying wouldn't have noticed if Liang Jinxiao hadn't said anything. After Liang Jinxiao said it, Li Chueying quickly looked at her hands. She really got some chicken poop. It was black and sticky. Just looking at it made her feel disgusted. She sat on the ground and probably got some on her pants. I'm so unlucky. Who did I offend to end up like this? It's so infuriating. Li Chueying cursed. Now that she knew how disgusting she was, she didn't let Liang Jinxiao help her up and quickly got up from the ground. Li Chueying looked at her butt and went back into the house angrily. She probably went to wash her hands and change her clothes. Zhao Yun couldn't help but laugh. How interesting. Li Chueying was really unlucky. She wondered if this was God's punishment for her shameless behavior. Liang Jinxiao sighed. He seemed to pity Li Chueying. Zhao Yun shook her head. Her mother was still too kind. I'll continue building the shed. There's still some left, Zhao Wenhua said. Father, let me help you. Zhao Yun's impression of Zhao Wenhua improved. As long as Zhao Wenhua was not as useless as before and the third branch could live a good life, she would be happy. Zhao Wenhua waved his hand. Yun'er, have a rest. Father will be fine by himself. I'm fine too. I'll lend you a hand. Then, all right. Zhao Wenhua finally nodded. The two of them set up the chicken shed so their speed was faster. Zhao Yun found that Zhao Wenhua was quite clever and skillful. The fences were woven very well. While the two of them were busy, they talked about building a house. Zhao Wenhua had been looking for Zhao Yun for the past few days, but he didn't find a big piece of land. Since they wanted to build a few more houses, the land had to be bigger. At least 1 or 2 mu of land would be enough. Yun'er, there is a piece of land in the east of the village that is quite suitable. The 2 pieces of land are connected together. One of the pieces of land is Old Chen's old house. People no longer live there. If we discuss with Old Chen's family, we can buy that piece of land and tear down the old house. It will be enough for our family to build a house. In addition, it's close to the roadside and the river. It's convenient to travel, Zhao Wenhua said. Will Old Chen's family sell that piece of land? Zhao Yun asked curiously. Zhao Wenhua shook his head. I don't know if Old Chen's family will sell it or not. Since they don't use it, it's a waste to leave it there. It's better to sell it and get some money. Chapter 572. Okay. Zhao Wenhua responded. Thinking of building a big house, Zhao Yun still has some expectations. It was indeed very inconvenient to squeeze into a small house every day. The two of them quickly set up the chicken shed. They breathed a sigh of relief and entered the house of the third house. Zhao Yun didn't know that before entering the house, but after entering the house, Zhao Yun realized that Qin Yuan was also there. During the day, Zhao Wenhua sent the tiger meat to the family Qin. The family Qin asked Qin Yuan to come over as a token of appreciation. Qin Yuan sat in the house of the third house. Zhao Ping kept pestering him. He seemed to be a little impatient, and there was a trace of disgust in his eyes. Zhao Yun frowned. Qin Yuan was also a weirdo. He came to her house and didn't help her father when he was working. Instead, he just sat in the house. Usually, prospective sons-in-law were very diligent. If the woman's family needed help, they would ask to help. After all, it was not easy for people in ancient times to get a wife. If he didn't do something, what if the woman was unwilling to marry him? Qin Yuan did this because he didn't care. He didn't help Zhao Wenhua and didn't do anything in her house. It showed that he didn't care whether he married Zhao Ping'er or not. In the end, Zhao Ping'er was too poor and he didn't like her. Qin Yuan greeted Zhao Yun'er when he saw her coming over. Zhao Yun nodded faintly in response. Then she walked to Zhao Tianan and asked, Tianan, how's your leg? What's the matter? Second sister, my leg is fine. It's just a scratch. It hurts a little. I'll be fine after a few days of rest, Zhao Tianan said casually as if nothing had happened. Zhao Yun'er felt that Zhao Tianan was deliberately saying this so that she wouldn't worry. Let second sister take a look. Zhao Tianan was sitting on the bed, his legs not under the quilt. Hearing Zhao Yun'er's words, she felt a little embarrassed. Second sister, I'm really fine. There's no need to check, right? Zhao Tianan felt that it was inappropriate to show his thighs to Zhao Yun'er since he was already so big. Although they were blood-related siblings, there were still some taboos when they grew up. Why not? I want to see how second elder sister knows how badly you fell. Second sister. Zhao Tianan's cheeks were dyed with a blush. What's wrong? Tianan, are you shy? Zhao Yun'er smiled. Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but laugh when she saw her eldest brother's embarrassed look. He was really a pure and innocent little boy. Second sister. It's just looking at your legs. I'm not looking at other places. When you were a child, I saw but when you were bathing. Zhao Yun'er teased. It was hard to find such a pure and innocent little boy in the 21st century. Second sister. Zhao Tianan's face turned red when he was teased by Zhao Yun'er. That was when I was a child. Second sister, I also saw but Zhao Yun'er's mouth twitched. She was a little embarrassed. Okay, take out your legs. Let me see. I still have some medicinal herbs at home. If it's serious, I'll apply some medicine on you. You'll get better faster. Zhao Tianan couldn't win against Zhao Yun'er, so he had to take out his legs. Slowly rolling up his trousers, Zhao Yun'er found that his knees had scabbed. It should have been quite serious. However, it had scabbed and didn't fester, which meant it was fine. Chapter 573. Got it, second sister, Zhao Tianan responded. Good boy. Second sister. Zhao Tianan's voice was even lower, as if he had something to say. What's wrong, Tianan? Second sister. When I fell down the mountain that day, it was Ma Xiaofeng who brought me back. Why don't we also send her some tiger meat? After Zhao Tianan finished speaking, he carefully looked at Zhao Yun'er to see Zhao Yun'er's attitude. However, after saying this, Zhao Tianan's ears turned even redder. Zhao Yun'er listened and was silent for a moment. She saw that her younger brother seemed particularly shy when he mentioned Ma Xiaofeng. Could it be that his heart was rippling and he had taken a fancy to Ma Xiaofeng? Was it Ma Xiaofeng who brought you back that day? Zhao Yun'er asked. Yes. I fell down and there was no one at the foot of the mountain. If I hadn't met Xiaofeng, I don't know how long I would have to stay at the foot of the mountain. Zhao Tianan lowered his head and said shyly. However, Zhao Yun'er was thinking in her heart. Was it really such a coincidence to meet Ma Xiaofeng? Did that scheming woman deliberately help Zhao Tianan? Thinking about it, she felt that it was unlikely. After all, Zhao Tianan's fall was not something she could have predicted. It was even more impossible for her to stay at the foot of the mountain and wait for Zhao Tianan to have a problem, then go forward to help, right? Perhaps she was thinking too much and it was just a coincidence. That's fine. I'll ask mother to send a caddy of tiger meat over later. Yes. Zhao Tianan listened and nodded happily. Seeing Zhao Tianan's performance, Zhao Yun'er's heart twisted together. This younger brother of hers seemed to be really interested in Ma Xiaofeng. 16 or 17 years old young men were at the peak of their youth. It was normal for them to fall in love with girls. In ancient times, Zhao Tianan was old enough to get married. After all, in ancient times people got married early. When they got older, it was not easy to talk about marriage. Liang Jinxiao originally planned to wait for Zhao Ping'er to get married, then slowly help Zhao Tianan to make arrangements. In the next 1 or 2 years he could bring back a wife. If it was another girl, Zhao Yun'er wouldn't think much of it. But Ma Xiaofeng. If Zhao Tianan really married that scheming woman, would she treat Zhao Tianan sincerely? Would he plot against their family? Zhao Yun'er sighed. She had to think of a way to prevent her brother from having any thoughts about Ma Xiaofeng. I'm going to shit. Qin Yuan caught a glimpse of Zhao Xinhui coming out of the house and walking in the direction of the latrine. He knew that Zhao Xinhui was definitely going to shit. He came over to the third branch's place to see Zhao Xinhui. But Zhao Xinhui was in his own house, and he was being dragged by Zhao Ping'er. There was no chance at all. Now that he finally got the chance, if he didn't seize it, he might not have the chance to talk to Zhao Xinhui today. Big brother Yuan, I'll go with you, Zhao Ping'er said shyly. I'm going to shit. Why are you following me? Qin Yuan replied unwillingly. Zhao Ping'er pursed her lips and said with some grievance, Big brother Yuan, the last time you squatted in the latrine to shit, your legs went numb from squatting and you almost fell in. What if I don't go with you this time and you're still like this? The corner of Qin Yuan's mouth twitched and he said calmly, Don't worry. I won't squat for so long this time so my legs won't go numb. You're a girl, so you have to be reserved in some things. Don't be so shameless. When I marry you in the future, you'll still embarrass me. Chapter 574. Then Big Brother Yuan, you have to be quick. Got it, got it. Qin Yuan replied a little impatiently. Just as he stepped out of the door, Zhao Ping'er shouted again, Big Brother Yuan. Qin Yuan held back his anger and thought, why is this Zhao Ping'er so annoying? What else is there? Can you finish telling me in one breath? Do you know that you're very annoying like this? Qin Yuan's tone was a little cold as he said plainly, Big Brother Yuan, I wanted to say that you didn't bring any toilet paper. If you realize that you didn't bring any when you're halfway through taking shit, are you going to use your hands to wipe it? As Zhao Ping'er spoke, she handed Qin Yuan the toilet paper aggrievedly. The corner of Qin Yuan's mouth twitched again and he reached out to take it. Seeing Qin Yuan leave in a huff, Zhao Ping'er sat back down on the stool. She didn't really understand why Qin Yuan would be angry with her. She didn't do anything. Wasn't it a good thing to remind him to bring toilet paper? Zhao Yun'er was at the side, trying hard not to laugh out loud. This Zhao Ping'er was a weirdo. Qin Yuan was also a weirdo. Previously, she thought that Qin Yuan wasn't bad. He was a delicate-looking little boy. His personality should also be that kind of gentle and quiet. However, she didn't expect that Qin Yuan was just a bag of skin. This person didn't seem to have a good character. It was also good that he was a good match for Zhao Ping'er. That weirdo Zhao Ping'er needed to be taught a lesson. Clearly, in front of Qin Yuan, Zhao Ping'er became an obedient child. Qin Yuan quickly went to the back of old Zhao's house and stood guard in front of the latrine. Little aunt, Qin Yuan called out to Zhao Xinhui who was in the latrine. My niece-in-law? Zhao Xinhui asked. Yes, it's me, auntie. I'm Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan answered happily. Oh, why is it that every time I see you, you're always at the latrine? Zhao Xinhui couldn't help but reply indifferently. Qin Yuan smiled awkwardly and said, Auntie, it was a coincidence that we met last time. This time I saw you coming out of the latrine, so I followed you. Zhao Xinhui was a little displeased when he heard this. Why did you follow me to the latrine? Are you trying to peek at me? No. You've misunderstood. Qin Yuan hurriedly waved his hand and explained. He was afraid that Xianhui would think that he was a hooligan. Auntie Zhao Ping'er stopped me from looking for you. Now that I saw you come to the latrine, I quickly found an excuse to come over. I see. Zhao Xinhui seemed to be thinking about something. Did you know? After I left last time, all I could think about was you. Qin Yuan took a deep breath and mustered up the courage to tell Zhao Xinhui. If he didn't confess now, he wouldn't have another chance in the future. If Zhao Xinhui liked him and was willing to marry him, even if he had a hard life and was poor, he would never marry Zhao Ping'er. A girl's faint laughter came from the latrine. Forget it. You're my niece-in-law. You're so beautiful, of course I miss you. I can't possibly think about that ugly freak Zhao Ping'er, right? Yes, you're right. Zhao Xinhui wiped her butt and came out of the latrine. Auntie. Qin Yuan was a little excited and stuck to Zhao Xinhui. He pushed her against the wall. What are you doing? Zhao Xinhui asked. Chapter 575. Auntie, I don't want to do anything. I just want to get closer to you. As he spoke, Qin Yuan leaned closer to Zhao Xinhui. Aren't you afraid that Ping'er will come after me if she sees this? Zhao Xinhui asked. If Zhao Ping'er dares to hit you again, I'll teach her a lesson. I can't let her ride on my head, Qin Yuan said with a masculine look, protecting Zhao Xinhui. That won't do. I'm Ping'er's auntie, so I'll be your auntie in the future. You can't think of me in your heart, Zhao Xinhui said as she pushed Qin Yuan away. Qin Yuan was a little anxious. But auntie, I like you. I realized that I fell in love with you at first sight. All right. It's no use even if you like me. I don't like you. Besides, you'll be marrying Ping'er in the future. Let me tell you, the person I'll be marrying in the future must be someone with status. I won't take a liking to a poor boy like you. Unless you have the ability to stand out among your peers. At that time I'll consider again. Zhao Xinhui finished speaking, turned around and left. Qin Yuan looked at Zhao Xinhui's back disappointedly. Stand out among his peers. Can he? Zhao Ping'er waited anxiously. Finally, Qin Yuan returned. Big Brother Yuan, if you still didn't come back, I would have gone to the toilet to look for you. Qin Yuan glanced coldly at Zhao Ping'er. Why are you so long-winded? Big Brother Yuan. I'm just worried about you, humph, Qin Yuan snorted softly. At this moment, a commotion came from the courtyard. Oh my! Something big has happened. The people in the house hurriedly ran out and saw Zhao Wenshi coming back with Zhao Baoshan on her back. There was even a lot of blood on the ground. Hua Chunhua asked, "What's wrong?" "What's wrong?" "Mother, there's a big cut on father's foot," Zhao Wenshi said. As he spoke, Zhao Wenshi put down Zhao Baoshan and placed him on the chair. He was so tired that he panted heavily and wiped the sweat off his forehead. "Why is there a big cut?" Hua Chunhua asked hurriedly. "I don't know who threw the broken bowl into our family's field. Father stepped on it and accidentally made a big hole. Fortunately, second brother and I were also here. Otherwise, who would send father back? Second brother went to look for Dr. Sunday. He'll be back soon," Zhao Wenshi explained. Hua Chunhua lowered her head and looked at the 5 to 6 centimeters long wound on Zhao Baoshan's foot. She cursed, "Who the hell would do such a wicked thing? If I find out, I'll skin him alive. Old man, don't let anything happen to you. Our family depends on you." The wound on Zhao Baoshan's foot was indeed scary. Blood was dripping down. Because he had lost too much blood, his entire face was somewhat pale. "Yes, father, you have to hold on. Don't let anything happen to you," Zhao Wenshi added. "Father, you're the pillar of our old Zhao family. If anything happens to you, our old Zhao family will be finished." "Father, Dr. Sun will be here soon. You have to hold on." Zhao Baoshan, who was sitting on the chair, was so angry that he took a deep breath and scolded, "What are you shouting about? Are you cursing me to death? You're making it sound like a funeral. It's just a little blood. What's the big deal?" The old Zhao family members were so scared that they didn't dare to open their mouths. "Father, it's good that you're fine. We're just worried about you." You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.